Tom, I wish you the best of luck and do some ice fishing while you're there.
Don't fall in though. All right, looks like we got about a minute. Yep. All right, thanks everyone. We'll kick off. So we'll call to order right at 1:30. Thank you everyone for attending. First off, we will recognize that we're conducting our business today primarily on the territories of the Hupatchis and the Tishot First Nation. To appreciate affirm and appreciate that fact. So with that in mind, we are conducting our meeting in a hybrid format, which means we have people online. So we have folks who are likely coming to the meeting from different traditional territories, some of which very different traditional territories, but that's okay. We are live streaming our meeting through our website on YouTube, and there are folks who could have registered beforehand to attend via Zoom as well. And that's that. So we'll move around and do introductions. We'll start inside the boardroom here, and then we'll head online. So Heather, if you'd like to start, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Heather Zenner, Manager of Administrative Services.
Hello, everyone. Debbie Haggard, Councillor for the City of Port Alberni and Vice Chair for the Board of Directors.
Good afternoon, Akama Penikote. I am the Electoral Area Director for Sprout Lake on board.
Good afternoon, I'm Mike Sparrow, Electoral Area Director for Cherry Creek.
Good afternoon, I'm Susan Roth, the Director for Beaver Creek.
Good afternoon, Cynthia Dick, General Manager of Administrative Services and our CAO sends his regrets.
And good afternoon, Alex Dyer, General Manager of Planning and Development.
Good afternoon, Shane Corn, Acting Chief Financial Officer.
And good afternoon, Jenny Brunn, General Manager of Community Services.
All right, thank you. Good to see you, Jen. And online, we'll start with Bob. Please go ahead. Oh, he may be frozen. We'll go with Director Steer. Please go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, Councillor Tom Steer, Appointed Director, District of Tofino.
Thank you. And then Director Siga.
Beta Sega, Director for Alberta Area C. Thanks.
Thank you. Director Boyko.
Fred Boyko, Electoral Area Director for Beaufort. Thank you.
Director Coots.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Sharon Wright, who's I'm here representing the Horticulture Department. Happy to be here. Click up.
Thank you for that. Director Minions, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Shari Minions, Mayor for the City of Port Alberni.
And back to Director Beckett, please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Bob Beckett representing Banfield Area A.
Alrighty, thank you. My name is John Jack. I am the Director for the Wait First Nations and the Chairperson. So we have an agenda before us today, and that agenda does have a late item to be added, and that has to do with the Log Train Trail Enhanced Community Engagement. It'll be under item 14. Do we have any late materials or anything like that?
Nothing else.
Nope, nothing else. Okay, could we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Thank you, Director Roth, second by Director Sparrow. Okay, any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? The motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next up is declarations. Declarations of conflict of interest or gifts exceeding $250 in value as per the community charter. Does anyone have any declarations? Okay, seeing none. Does anybody have any time constraints? Nope. Great. That brings us into invited presentations. Before we move forward with the rest of the delegations, we would like to take some time to recognize Eddie Hunterman, who we'd like to maybe make sit next to Director Roth or somewhere close to. Because Jenny wants to be able to see you.
Yeah, we got to get you in the hot seat here.
We were
Oh,
thinking about
excellent.
putting a chair right in the middle of the whole circle,
Yes.
but all right. Please go ahead.
It makes a lot more sense because I want to start by saying personally, thank you to Eddie for a recent favor he did to me, which is he stepped up to be our general manager of community services for the last while I've been away. And it's been a pleasure getting back and hearing all of the positive feedback that includes because he's been wearing many hats and doing a great job at it. He has been an excellent leader and the picture of calm I have heard while I've been away, which makes me think that maybe I'm a little erratic, but maybe not. I did love hearing all the feedback, but really it wasn't surprising because Eddie has just been incredible. I've worked with him for the last 5 years, and I've just seen him grow and grow as a person, both professionally and personally, and it's been great to work with him. Eddie started with us about 5 years ago, almost exactly, and he came from transit. So we gave him the West Coast Transit Project, which really is one of the most difficult projects because BC Transit normally starts out transit systems, and we started up our own from scratch. And I think the only reason we were able to do that is because we had Eddie here. And so he took care of all of the little stuff to make it an incredibly successful project, award-winning, in fact, before BC Transit came and was happily took that over, which is great. So we're happy with all of that. And when I'm on the West Coast, I always see the transit buses now, and I think of all the work that went into that and how happy the community is for that. And it really is when I think of that and all of the other calls and comments and emails I get from residents who are happy, whether it's about a sealed road in Salmon Beach or getting a new transmission main in Bamfield or a pumper truck or even just a capital water main replacement that has gone incredibly well. And they're like, it just wasn't very disruptive. And it's amazing. And those are the little things I think that mean a lot. And they're not little, these are big projects for the community that mean a lot. And I think it's the reason that we all show up. So for me too, I would like to say that maybe it is the little things that I appreciate, like making sure that the SCADA systems are updated and the DCC bylaws are up to date, that we've done our annual reports and we're communicating with the community on what good work we're doing. It's those little things. And Eddie puts a lot of time into that. And I can just think of, stopping by and he's working on a grant application to, again, try to save the community money. So it's the core services that we work on, and he does such a great job of that. The other thing that I always really enjoy hearing about Eddie is how much people appreciate the conversations that they have with him, because he really shines when he works with other people. He's fostered so many relationships, whether he's coaching someone or trying to help them see another perspective, and really just working both internally and externally with all of our partners to build those relationships. I think that is key, and it's really one of those things. And I think it has a lot to do with because he's really good at building trust. He's always positive and looking for a solution and a way that he can support other people. So I think that's pretty incredible. And these things, they come with time and sometimes with a bit of adversity because, the other thing that Eddie has really done a great job of is overcome some of those major challenges, personal health challenges. And he's shown just incredible resilience and strength over the years in that. And I think that's really who Eddie is about. So no matter what the obstacles, I see him rise and overcome it and really grow as a person as a result. So it's been amazing to watch your growth over the last 5 years. And really, you're a big part of the reason that I come to work and I enjoy working here. Because when you work with someone who is honestly trying to improve themselves and the world around them just a little bit every day, like it keeps you doing that as well. So thank you so much for everything that you've brought in the last 5 years. And I'm really excited for more, possibly 5 more. So thanks, Eddie.
Yeah, let's get a photo. I'll be right over. Okay, thank you, everyone. Oh, and I'd just like to thank and recognize that Director McEwen's online. Thank you for connecting. That brings us to the next agenda item, which is item 5, delegations. And on behalf of the board, I'd like to welcome Mr. Adrian Mullen, the tourism manager for the Huet Group of Businesses. Adrian, you're online, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right here.
Okay, the floor is yours. Please take it away.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Yeah, my name is Adrian Mullen, work for the Huet Group of Businesses as the Tourism Development Manager. I'm here today to speak to the extension of a temporary use permit for 390 Grappler Road in Banfield to continue its use as staff accommodation. In October 2025, at the board's meeting, there's an application was brought forward, and at that time, the TUP was deferred to allow us to attend and make a presentation and then provide background on this application. We've done some preliminary work for the presentation, but unfortunately, Patrick Schmidt, the CEO, was not able to attend today. So he has to defer the broader presentation to another meeting, but then I'm here to just be able to reference and speak to the information around the TUP for 390 Grappler. Excuse me one sec here. Yeah, so it's a staff housing building, and it's essential for workforce housing for the group of businesses and for Banfield. We've currently got a building permit in place and then a delegated development permit application in to allow for construction to obtain the TUP. And yeah, there's 6 units housing 12 people. And yeah, it's our intention under this TUP timeline to work on a rezoning application for that property and provide a bigger presentation about the long-term use of that property and others. Looks like Patrick's arriving right now. Yeah, so.
Yep, Adrian, Patrick is here. Would you like to flip it over to him?
Sure, yeah. Basically, I'm present to add context and answer any questions around the TUP specifically for Grappler Road, and then, but if Patrick wants to present on anything else, it's good timing for that for sure.
Thanks, Patrick. If you wanted to hit the podium and just make sure you hit the button, that'd be good. Yeah, we just started, so feel free to reintroduce and move forward.
So I'm just a couple minutes late. I'm running 2 different meetings at once. I'm not sure how far you got, Adrian, but I think we're here to seek a top for the 390 Grappler as a housing for short term. Our goal is to see the property develop into something more robust, like a more high density unit. And we've been playing around with some different concepts, probably still a few years out. So top's ideal for us to kind of see the growth of tourism and to get to some type of package on housing. A lot of our businesses are tourism businesses, so you don't see kind of really high returns on these. It's not a big industrial. So the goal is to try to find the right unit. So for instance, this year we're putting in at Pachena Bay, we're putting in some wash houses, and they're modular units from the island. So some of the ideas we've had is to look at see what can be done for kind of multi-residential modular units to see if we can get that at the right price. But the intent or some of the concepts we have is kind of staging the development. So we start at the top of the Grappler and start to work down and making sure we can map it out for, everything within Banfield. Within that same concept, at some point, we've talked about putting maybe a daycare or some type of center at the base of the hill. That would make sense over time. These are draft concepts right now. I don't want to tell you that, we're about to break ground on these, but we really see the need for housing in Banfield. It's ideal property for it, and I think we can meet a different level of market because a lot of the property in Banfield is it's pretty high priced. So this is a way to try to get into that mid market. It's quarter businesses, and we're trying to we're trying to do it as kind of lean as possible. So I don't know if you have other skill testing questions for me.
No, I think that's it, unless there's anything Adrian would like to add. We can go to comments and questions. So Adrian, anything to add? And then we'll go to Director Boyko.
No, I'm good. Thanks, Ron.
Thank you. Director Boyko and then Director Siga, please.
Thank you, Chair. So my question is, you're looking at a temporary use permit for staff housing, and I think it's a continuation of what's already happening there, right?
A little bit different. In the past, we've had 12 units and we're actually breaking it down to 6. So we don't need all 12 and it's just an easier density on that area.
So, but it's still a continuation of a temporary use permit, right?
It's actually a new one.
A new one for the same place? Like I'm trying to understand how this is working.
We're working with the staff. We've kind of redefined it as a new style building now. So
I think he's just asking for that same property.
Yeah. So we've put.
All right. So you have a TUP for 3 years that's expired or expiring. You're looking for a new one for another 3 years. What is the forward path when that stops in 3 years and you cannot renew anymore? Are you going to rezone, or are you going to have different housing, or what's the plan?
Well, our hope is to put housing through the property and get the whole design done. The Banfield Main, and this is part of the challenge being commercial, is the Banfield Main upgrade happened 3 years ago. Only now we're starting to see the traction on what the demand is for some of the businesses to put the appropriate housing in. So I'm confident in 2-3 years we're going to have new housing coming in, and this would then not be necessary. But for the time being, given that we're service industry, it fits the bill for what we need for now. But we don't need all 12, so we figured we can kind of tighten it up a bit if there's any concerns.
Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure that, there is a limit to temporary use permits based on what the province has told us. And now that we're coming up to renewals, it's good to have a forward plan to say, hey, in 3 years, this is not going to be allowed anymore, and what the plan will be. Thank you.
I believe Adrian said during his part of the presentation that it was going to be during this time to work on a rezoning. Is that correct, Adrian?
Yeah, right now the plan is to have a rezoning application submitted for this fall. So the board will receive a rezoning application for the property by late summer, early fall this year.
Perfect. That's great to hear. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Siga, and then Director Beckett.
Yeah, thank you very much. I number one have one question. I was there years ago and there was a motel with a restaurant. I was wondering if this is that property, and if not, if it is, and it's zoned commercial, then why would you need a temporary use permit? So I guess this would be asking both Alex, if he's present, and Patrick. Thanks.
Through the chair, yes. This is a separate property than the motel. I believe it's called the Hutchison. Is just across the road and kitty corner from this property. So this one was previously vacant, and the dormitory style building was installed at the outset of the temporary use permits here, and would be strictly limited to that seasonal staff accommodation.
Thank you, Director Beckett. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Further to Director Boyko's initial question, I just want to assure the board that during the APC meeting where this matter came up, the committee asked to have this presentation for the same reason that Director Boyko asked about the repeated temporary use permit process, and that the APC committee asked to have Patrick present because we did want to see what the draft concept would be, recognizing that we clearly need additional housing for our seasonal workers, and HFN is providing that, albeit primarily for their own staff, which is excellent. So anyway, again, wrapping it up, I am going to be speaking to this matter because it is on the agenda. I will be in support of it. And while I agree that temporary use permit processes, need to be addressed, I think that the transparency of today's presentation speaks to that, and that in 3 years, I'm optimistic that the draft concept will be much more firmed up, and there'll be projects in mind that won't necessitate another temporary use permit. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Patrick or Adrian, any last words?
The only comment I'll make is we really do want to get housing going. These are not luxury places, and the better you can actually put accommodation, the better staff you get. So,
all right, thank you. Director Cote, please go ahead.
Thank you. I have a question to staff. Through the chair, would this type of housing be considered housing as in the count for the housing needs? Total of the houses that are needed. Just wondering if yeah.
That's a very good question. The housing needs reports that were completed did highlight a need for staff housing in those, particularly the West Coast communities. So absolutely, this I would consider these as being represented in those number of units that Banfield needs over the next 5 to 20 years, and we know that staff housing is a huge part of that.
All right, on behalf of the board, thank you for your presentation, and could you turn off the microphone? Great, thanks. Okay, so that brings us to the next agenda item. 15 for 10 minutes. That brings us to the consent agenda, which looks like it's mostly about meeting minutes. So would anyone like to pull anything out of item 6, or if not, we could have a motion to receive items A through D on the consent agenda. Director Roth, please go ahead.
I would like to move to receive the consent agenda.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Director Cote. Any further comments? Director Cote?
Thank you. Just trying to find it. Sorry. Time. Just the item C, the board remuneration. I'm just wondering if directors will have the opportunity to speak to this new committee. Thank you. They have in the past.
Oh, like have conversations with them. I think that's after their first or after the first meeting, but before the next. I can't remember. Heather?
We've had the initial meeting on April 8th. We're meeting again next week. We're going to talk about that further. But I will be sharing that the board is interested in meeting with the committee.
Thank you. I read somewhere in the report that the committee had the opportunity to either speak to the directors. It sounded like they did not have to if they chose. But I'd like to make sure that the directors have the opportunity to explain what the challenges are for the people on this board. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Cote. I'm fairly certain that there will be an opportunity for that. Yeah. Okay, any further comments? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of receiving the... Okay, motion carried. Thank you. Alrighty, that brings us to item 8, the public input period. So the public input period will be 15 minutes total. The public will be permitted to speak for up to 3 minutes on an agenda item, and only an agenda item. No video, use of presentations, handouts, or props are permitted. Virtual attendees, please raise your hand in Zoom to request to speak, and anyone in person, please raise your hand to speak. And okay, Colin, please come on. While you're coming up, I'll just read out this thing I'm supposed to read out while we have it. The public input period is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board and the committees on agenda items, other than items that are restricted, including a bylaw in respect of which a public hearing has been held, is not required to be held, or must not be held, a development variance permit or a temporary use permit unless the delegate is addressing the board at the meeting during which the permit will be considered. Ongoing legal proceedings, personnel matters, publicly tendered contracts before they are awarded. If you wish to speak, blah, blah. Okay, that's all the same stuff. So please come on up and introduce yourself and give your address. And thanks. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Colin McClellan from Beaver Creek.
Yeah, I think you have to give your address as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just your street at
Yeah,
the
Beaver Creek
street.
Road.
Yeah, not the number.
This is regarding the late agenda. I think you called it item 14 now.
Yeah, the Horn
Oh,
Lake.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, 14A, I think.
Okay, I see the staff wants to go back to public engagement. As you know, I'm a very big fan of public engagement, but I'm just wondering what was wrong with the 3 other public engagements plus a great survey. There was a very clear mandate given, board usage and ACRD participation. I'm just wondering where the foggy parts are continuing. We're over 3 years into this now, and now we're going back. On March 8th, at the Beaver Creek Town Hall, Daniel and Terry put on a show for us regarding budget, and they brought on the Banfield dock study on the West Side dock. Daniel was very good explaining how we are taking on the study to make sure that the people of Banfield might not be ending up with the boondoggle. I fully respect that, and I thank him for that. I also asked him why the same respect was not shown to the people here on Beaver Creek on the ACRD regarding the log train trail. Why we didn't get a study like that to tell us what this is all going to cost and still costing. Daniel stated this had not been taken place because the board of directors have not directed him to do so. So today I respectfully ask the directors that represent my interests, Director Beckett, Director Cote, and Director Roth, that today that we defer this request, slow things down until we know exactly what this is going to cost us moving forward. This is a trail that belongs to the people of BC. We are throwing all our own money into it as taxpayers. And now there's been some scuttlebutt that maybe the city would like to opt out of the regional parks service. I don't know how far that was, but that could cost us more as regional taxpayers. That's all I have to say about this, and I hope I didn't blow my time again. Thank you. Oh, wow, I'm learning.
Yeah, no, well said. It was very clear. Okay, so this is on the log train trail, enhanced community engagement. Okay, thank you for that, Colin. Is there anyone else who'd like to have a comment? Okay, going once. Is there anybody online? I guess they would have put their hand up by now, right?
Let me just look. There's no online attendees.
Okay. Okay, all right, that brings us to the end of public input then, which is exciting. I think that's the first time I've got to read out that stuff. All right, public input period finished. That brings us to correspondence for information. Would anyone like to pull anything out of correspondence for information? I was going to pull out item B. But if anybody else wants to, Director Cote and then Director Beckett.
Yes, by item B, regarding, oh, sorry. Okay, I was gonna pull out item A, just about, McMillan Park, Cathedral Grove. Doesn't really give any, direction. So continually, hear from people that are talking about how, unsafe that area is for traveling through, for people that stop, backing out onto the highway. I saw someone actually do a UE right there, going into the direction, in the wrong lane, and they couldn't get over to the proper lane and they were coming head on. I've heard of a head on that happened, slow speed limit, but it's extremely dangerous. I would like to see us send Ministry of Transportation or Tourism or whoever we need to say how concerned residents of the valley are on the West Coast. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Director Beckett, please go ahead.
Thank you. With respect to item B, I'm just looking to make sure that there is a process whereby staff will be responding to Mr. Merck regarding his inquiry, speaking to the process regarding community input.
Okay, thank you very much. That's pretty much what I was going to say too, so I don't know that I need to pull it out anymore. Director Boyko, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, item B as well. We need to make sure we're servicing the majority of the people the best. And however that is, maybe we need more than one route out of here. But if you look at the valley and the Banfield side and the Tofino Ucluelet side, there's more people on the Tofino Ucluelet side. So getting over the hump, over the mountains to the other side is much faster on the Horn Lake route. And we just got to make sure that we're helping the majority of the people as best we can. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Boyko. And Director Cote, please go ahead.
Thank you. Item C, there's a request for a representative. I'd like to recommend that Director Beckett be that person, that we appoint him.
Okay, let's cover that off. I think that's a good idea. Let's maybe cover that out after we receive the, oh no, wait, nothing's on the floor yet, so you could do that. Dr. Beckett, your thoughts? Oh, you have to unmute though.
I'd be happy to participate if that's what the board would like.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if there's an alternate as well, and I would recommend that Chair Jack also be appointed there, or if possible.
I can probably do it as an alternate. We have some involvement already through Huayet too, so I'll be there regardless, I think. So with that in mind, do you want to make that a motion?
I would love to make that a motion that we, there's something here, that the regional district provide Director Beckett as representation with this FIFA 2026 activities in the Alberni Valley, Indigenous-led World Cup Community Celebration Committee.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a seconder? Okay, thank you, Director Sparrow. Any further comments? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor? All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay. Now am I missing anybody? Director Beckett, did you have a comment as well? Okay, so on the letter from Mr. Merck, the only other thing that I would want to make clear is that we have to differentiate between the emergency routes and the alternate route, which is the more permanent work that we have to work on. So I believe the emergency route has a list of 3 routes, including the Horn Lake as 3 of the emergency routes. So in the event that something bad happens, that route would be considered on an emergency basis. An alternate route is a different beast entirely. It's the more permanent, what is going to be the other way in and out of the Alberni Valley and also therefore the West Coast. And that's the place where we're looking for more input and unity on. So there is a process that was identified in the decision that we made last meeting or the meeting before that identifies a process to do that. Maybe if we can come back at a later meeting to further identify instances where we can have public input on both of those issues, but we have to communicate clearly, and the community should understand by now there's a difference between identifying the emergency routes, which is a separate process, and the alternate route, which is a more permanent effort, so to speak. And I would just leave it at that. With that, could we have a motion to receive the correspondence for information? Thank you, Director Roth, seconded by Director Sparrow. Any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, that brings us into correspondence for action. I actually think item 9C should have been here, but we're all good now. Thank you for catching that, Director Coates. Then a request for a letter of support from AgriHope Farms and Products Incorporated. Would anyone like to introduce this? Or speak to this from staff? I just don't know who would speak to this. No? Okay. Would anyone like to speak to this from the board? Or make the motion? Director Haggard, thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I certainly support the intent of the letter. He is trying to support businesses in the community that are going through a difficult time right now. But I'm wondering if the letter would have more clout if it came from a more appropriate organization like the Chamber of Commerce. I was wondering if maybe you could suggest to Abu that the letter comes to the chamber back to the regional district for support.
This is the AgriHope Farms item? Yeah? Okay. Do we want to pass this motion, but also include recommendation to go to the chamber as well?
I'm fine with that. I will move that.
So
Would you like me to read it?
Yeah, if you'd like.
Okay. I'd like to move that the Alberni Pigcott Regional District Board of Directors issue a letter of support to AgriHope Farms and Products, Inc.'s proposed regional immediate economic stabilization initiative addressing the uninsured business crisis, and that we ask that a similar letter also come from the Alberni Valley Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Thank you, Director Coates. Any further comments? Okay, seeing them. Oh, Director Boyko, please go ahead.
I'm just trying to read this and make sense of what is actually happening here. So we're trying to protect uninsured businesses that may or may not be in the regional area from graffiti and crime. Is that what we're trying to do here? Like, that doesn't seem like something the public should be doing.
I think
we provide police support, we provide community aid. The city has 1,000 programs to help with additional crime. I don't think we should be providing additional support for uninsured businesses for things like this. Every business I'm involved with has insurance for this kind of thing. Yeah, please go ahead. I just want to have some debate on this before we just blankly say, yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Go ahead, Director Haggard.
When he's talking about uninsured business crisis, he's not talking about businesses that are not insured. He's talking about the high deductible that businesses have. So when a business is attacked by a lot of theft, broken windows, those sorts of things, it's very difficult to even claim that on your insurance because of the high deductible that local businesses have. So he's asking that for emergency crime relief fund, and it wouldn't come from us, it would come from the province. So he's not asking it come from the regional district, he's asking for that support from the province.
Go ahead, Director Boyko.
Thanks for explaining that a bit better, but I don't know. It's just questionable that that's coming to us. So he just wants a letter of support to say, hey, we want the provincial government to help out with helping crime that's caused by the support of everything else that's happening from the provincial level. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't know what the solution would be. I can think of a few policy options or things that could be done to make that less onerous. I think it just comes down to either a lack of regulation or a lack of in the insurance industry or a lack of competition, likely both. But I think something that is worthy enough to lend a letter of support, which doesn't really cost us anything right now. Any further comments? Dr. Roth, please go ahead.
Maybe we could reword the motion to better reflect what Director Haggard said.
I think the only word we would need to change is maybe underinsured instead of uninsured. Because high deductibles is kind of like a lack of accessibility, even if you have the policy, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing I would change.
Okay.
Yep. If you're okay, or Director Siga, go ahead.
I'd just like to comment that the situation is no different for private homeowners. The deductibles are getting ridiculously high. So I think it's a bigger question than just asking for a provincial response for graffiti. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Director Siga. So is it all right if we change the motion to be from uninsured to underinsured?
Yes, I will support that.
Okay. So we'll treat it as such. Any further comments? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor? All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. Alrighty, that brings us to item B, which is a request for a letter of support from the Island Coastal Economic Trust. It's requesting a letter of support for advancing legislation to modernize the Island Coastal Economic Trust and position it for long-term impact through strategic provincial investment. Any further comments? So the background on this, I'm the vice chair for the Island Coastal Economic Trust through the North Island section. And the background here is that the Island Coastal Economic Trust is looking for recapitalization. It would be done through legislation that is being worked on currently. And we're just moving through each of the regional districts on Vancouver Island to look for letters of support to ask for that. Dr. Haggard, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move that the Alberni-Quaycott Regional District Board of Directors issue a letter of support endorsing the advancement of legislation to modernize the Island Coastal Economic Trust to position the trust for long-term impact through strategic provincial investment.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Dr. Cote. Any further comments? I see none. All those in favor? All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. Alrighty, that brings us to item 11, which are requests for decision. First of which is 11A. It's I think it's for Eddie. It's Interregional Transit Feasibility Study. Please go ahead, Eddie.
Thank you very much. So this report in front of you seeks board direction to authorize staff to write to BC Transit requesting the initiation of a feasibility study for a potential interregional transit service that would connect Port Alberni with the regional district of Nanaimo. This request is consistent with the priorities identified in the 2025 Port Alberni Transit Future Service Plan, which recognized interregional connectivity as one of the 6 service initiatives for the 2025 to 2029 period. While the Transit Future Service Plan primarily focuses on conventional transit, it also highlighted the need to explore broader regional and interregional opportunities. The proposed feasibility study would evaluate potential service concepts, demand, operational requirements, governance considerations, and funding implications before any implementation decisions were considered. Staff are recommending that the letter be submitted promptly in order to increase the likelihood that the study request can be incorporated into BC Transit's future planning work program. There are no direct financial impacts associated with making the request, and initiating a feasibility study is seen as an appropriate and measured next step in advancing long-term interregional transit connectivity. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Director Steer, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you through the chair. Yeah, thank you, Eddie. I just, in the scope of the report, and thank you for clarifying some of the summary of what that scope of the feasibility would be. I'm just curious, and I was trying to read to see maybe you can give me some clarification. I know it's specifically around the conversations between the Alberni Valley, specifically Port Alberni and the RDN. I'm wondering if there's going to be conversation with linking the West Coast to be able to connect up with a much broader interregional conversation. One of the big issues we have, of course, out here on the coast is getting from the coast to Alberni Valley and points on beyond. Will that, do you think, or is it going to be within that scope to have that as part of that conversation?
Thank you for that question. Excellent, and through the chair. I don't think that will be a part of this feasibility study, but it is something that we can discuss with BC Transit, and we can bring a report back and investigate a little bit more about what that actually would look like and what that process may entail.
Great, thank you.
Thanks. Director Boyko, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. So I have a couple questions about this, and it comes down to who's going to use it, who's going to pay for it. And last time we had some engagement with BC Transit getting surveys, they only surveyed the people that are actually using transit now, and majority of their survey was like at bus stations and surveys online, things like this, as opposed to talking to the majority of the people that are actually going to pay for it. We need to have a much broader engagement to see that we're not just getting information back from bus users, but from the entire place that uses it. And I don't want to get into a situation like we have right now with custom transit, where we have some people in areas paying $900 to $5,000 per trip, and some areas paying $12 per trip. We need to make sure that we're very fair and user friendly for this, and have a proper way of engaging if we're going to actually go down this route. Because last time it was very fraught with problems and did not have the broad audience in mind. And I think we're talking, last time the cost was like $2 million per year. Like, this is a substantial cost. Like, we're not talking about small dollars here. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Director Hager.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, that isn't quite true. The survey is open to anybody. It wasn't open just to bus users. I did complete the survey and I do not take the bus, but I feel that many people in our community owning a vehicle is very cost prohibitive right now. So this kind of transportation is very important.
Thank you for that. Yeah, so this would be a feasibility study, so many questions would be answered during this process. Maybe not some of the things that Director Steers mentioned, but I think he's like a light year ahead of us when it comes to this sort of stuff. We'll catch up eventually, Tom. But I think this is an important thing to study. There is a pre-existing interregional transit system between the RDN and the Cowichan Valley, I believe. And I've actually had a preliminary meeting with the chair of the RDN, who's really, he used to be the chair of the transportation committee at the RDN, so he's really keen on this. And a local Nanaimo MLA, Georgia Anderson, is the Parlsac for transit. So I think we have a lot of good advantages here with potentially the province paying attention to what's going on. What I'm hoping to finagle is that we should be looking at a template and best practices, and that we could be that moving forward. Dr. Roth, please go ahead.
I'm curious to know why business has not taken this on, or if they have, I don't know, but perhaps it's cost prohibitive. I don't know.
I think there's a difference between being able to make money on something and having a service, right? So it's the same sort of thing. It's about coverage and based on an insurance principle rather than on a private vehicle or private business perspective. It kind of is akin to the debate around Canada Post, right? So there's no way you're making money off of remote communities at Canada Post. But you could be making more money by being more efficient in the big cities.
So we would be subsidizing it, and quite likely.
Subsidies happen for private industries. Services, by definition, are not subsidies.
In a sense, same idea.
By definition.
Yeah, I personally, I don't take the bus, but I personally think it would be a low use situation. But in reading through the material, it's at no cost to us to look at it. Is that true?
Well, there would be staff involvement in making sure. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that the cost of energy and therefore the cost of gasoline is only ever going to go up.
There's another side to that too. When you look at the world and the way it's changing, there's less of a need to travel.
Not to see people and specialists.
Sure. Yeah, my doctor, the last few times it's all been on the telephone or on the internet.
Can be. Director Siga and then Director Kurtz.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, I totally concur that this is a health and safety issue. Our tertiary services are like 3 hours away, literally. And if you don't have the capacity to drive, you'll be looking for somebody to drive you. And some people that don't have the funding to drive will be hitchhiking. So I think it is a health and safety issue. And given the history of the Highway of Tears, I think it's important to pursue this. And I am definitely in support of the motion.
Thank you, Director Siga. Dr. Coots, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just also like to highlight that, yes, I fully agree this is definitely a health issue, but there's also another lens that I think we are overlooking a little bit with this as well. This is also based around education. Youth have more opportunities to attend school and furthering their education in post-secondary and things like that if we have better connections such as this. I know from personal experiences working with our youth that many have chosen or been in more of a circumstance to feel as if they don't have a choice to continue their education because of the cost of living. It's much easier for them to stay at home. It's much more affordable. They can actually afford to live if they're at home, but then that puts them in a position where they cannot continue their education because it's not available here. And that's a huge, huge issue with many Indigenous youth along the West Coast. It's slowly getting better. We're trying to do better opportunities for getting licenses and things like that. But as we know, the cost of living is just insane. So I would be really interested to see more of these studies going to our youth, to the high school students, to our post-secondary students, because I do think that we would have quite a large user percentage of just people wanting to go and educate themselves. Thank you. Chu.
Thank you. Dr. Steer, go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to make the motion at this time that the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional District Board of Directors direct staff to write letter to BC Transit requesting the initiation of a feasibility study into the viability of interregional transit service between Port Alberni and the Regional District of Nanaimo as identified in the Port Alberni Transit Future Service Plan.
Seconded by Director Haggard. Any further comments? Dr. Cote and then Dr. Haggard.
Thank you. So the Alberni-Clayoquot Health Network has had a transportation working table, and it was identified that there is great need for transportation, bus service from everywhere from Ahousaht to Victoria and beyond. This would just be one of the links that needs to be provided. It's definitely one of the issues is the haves versus the have-nots. The vital signs will be coming out mid-May, I was told. So there should be some information there about the need for buses and what people have as far as needs. I think that there is a high usage for people in need. It's not just health, it's education, it's connecting families, it's doing all kinds of things. I used to use the bus service to put my son on to get him to family down island, and it was a safe means of getting someone there. So definitely support this. Thanks.
All right, thank you for that. Any further comments? Dr. Haggard, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Telephone access for a GP for some small illness is fine, but Nanaimo is rapidly expanding the service that it's offering. There's going to be more and more specialists down there. So more people from this community and the West Coast be traveling to Nanaimo for medical services. And also not only for education, thank you for bringing that up, Director Coots, but it's also employment. There are people that live here that have to work in Nanaimo, and they have been asking for this service for several years. So I think it's certainly something worthwhile to look at for all of these reasons. Thank you.
I can think of a few off the top of my head, one of which was a member of council, I believe. So with that in mind, any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? A motion carried. Thank you. Alrighty, that brings us to item B, West Coast Transit Bus Shelter Installation, Planning and Design. Eddie, please go ahead.
And thank you again. This report seeks board authorization to award the West Coast Transit Bus Shelter Installation, Planning and Design contract to RF Binney and Associates Limited in the amount of $81,960 excluding GST. The project is funded through the Rural Transit Solutions Fund and supports the planning, design, and implementation of bus shelters and associated bus stop infrastructure across the West Coast Transit system over a 2-year period. Following an open request for proposals process with 7 excellent submissions received, RF Binney and Associates Limited was identified as the proponent offering the best overall value based on a combined technical and price evaluation. The project aligns with strategic priority 1.3 and requires board approval to finalize contract. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Director Sparrow?
Thank you for that. I'm looking on page 41, I believe it is, 42. And there's 7 submissions here, and between the first and the second submission, the rating points are 1 point difference. However, the cost is like $24,000 different, which is 43%, probably 40% difference. Can staff explain to me this huge discrepancy in cost for 1 point, and what did they lose the 1 point on? I mean, if you got 1 more point, wouldn't they be in first place?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. And through the chair, yeah, it's an excellent point. So the price is taken into account in the evaluation. So that score does reflect the price, and the value for a dollar is incorporated into the score.
Okay. Director Steer, go ahead.
Yes, thank you through the chair. Thank you, Eddie, once again. Just within the report, just a couple of quick questions. One, in the desired outcome part, and this is just for my own understanding, for the planning, design, and implementation of bus shelters and corresponding, I certainly understand the planning and design and implementation. Maybe is that to be dealing with potentially with contractors that would be doing the work? Is that part of what implementation implies? I don't suspect they will be involved in the actual building, and maybe I'm just reading too much into this, and then I'll have a follow-up question.
Yeah, through the chair, we can look at implementation or installation as the same part. They will be assisting with the identification and then through the construction process.
Great, thank you. And then I think I just wanted maybe comment. Sorry, it wasn't much of a question, but just to Director Sparrows, as if you looked at the rest of the contract, you can see that they're all roughly in that same. This was significantly cheaper, and the only reason it probably scored at the rate that it did was because of the price, not necessarily about what the deliverables may have been, which may have been a lot more. They weren't going to be delivering to the extent of the contract that the other providers were looking at. You can see that everyone was roughly in that same price wage. They were significantly lower, and that's the only reason. I suspect, Eddie can clarify that, but I suspect that may be the only reason that it scored so high on that scale.
Thank you. Director Roth.
This still isn't making sense to me, because the proponent, RF Binney, was 81,960, and EXP Services was 58,2, yet the rating was only 1 below. So explain it again so it makes sense.
So the background, if you look at background.
Yeah.
So the number of submissions, and then it's evaluation based on best overall value. And then it shows the different criterion by which it's rated. So if you have each of those categories has a score.
Yeah.
They have like whatever the score is, and then there's a weighting as well. So how important is that category? So you can arrive at a low bid with a high rating because it's low.
Oh, I see.
But you
Okay.
can arrive at a high bid with higher rating because of the other types of things that they may be doing, like local employment, more experience, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now it makes sense. Thank you.
Thanks. Shane, did you want to add? Sorry, that might not be as accurate as it could be, but please go ahead.
No worries, thank you. And I do want to echo the comments from Director Steer and Chair Jack. Specifically for this project, I did want to note that staff weighted price at 40% of the overall. So we were very reflective of price. When we see a one price differential, when our price scoring is weighted 40% of the overall score, what that shows us is that the selected proponent here is going to provide what we expect to be a much higher quality end product for us in relation to that price.
Thank you. Director Boyko?
Yes, thank you, Chair. So when things are closed like this and the board members want to examine the background details, are we allowed to do that, or are we still going to be blocked from getting that information from staff? And how would we request that information?
I don't personally know the answer to that. It depends on how the reports are put together and whether or not you wanted to look at it before a decision was made or afterwards. Shane, go ahead.
Thank you, through the chair. So under the options consider section, it does specify that you can request additional details. So we need a bit of direction as to what was wanted. And I believe we'd have to bring it back in camera as it relates to the award of a contract, but that's something that we can do.
Perhaps, okay, so how about this? The agenda comes out on a Friday and we have a couple days to look at it. Can we request the information Friday afternoon or evening, and then no staff's working on the weekend? So it'll go to staff on Monday morning. Can they send us an email with the details that we can look at internally and privately, and then have a more informed decision when it comes to the Wednesday board meeting?
I don't know the answer to that, but we might be able to figure something out for the future. So let's keep that in mind for a future report on, I don't know if that would go into procedures or not, but we could look into that, or procurement. Sorry, I'm looking at Heather's end.
I'm just thinking, we don't share like in-camera type of information via email. It's done by agenda. So that would be my preference to keep it as per an agenda.
Okay. Okay, so I think the mechanism now would be to ask for that information and then we review it at the next meeting in an in-camera agenda.
But by that point, the decision's already made. So what I'm saying is we need a mechanism to have more proper, full, informed, educated decisions by the people in this room that are elected by the electorate before we decide to spend taxpayer money. We need to have that mechanism rather than just, this has a 91 because staff said so, and we don't have the place to do that. What I'm saying is, moving forward, I would like to have that as an option. Thank you.
It is an option, yes. I just wasn't sure what the intent was for the conversation, but if you look at options considered on page 2 of 2 of the report, so page 42, right above the signature lines, it's if you want more detail on the contract prior to deciding, the full contract could be brought forward in camera for the next scheduled board meeting, and that's before we decide. So we can just choose to do that, which is I think what Director Roth may want to do.
I would like to, even as a learning experience, like I would like to do that.
Okay, so I don't know how to put together the motion, but it would be, we would like further information regarding the details of the contract as well as the scoring. And we would review that in camera at our next meeting.
I would really like that. Yeah, I'll move that.
Thank you. We have a seconder. Thank you, Director Cote. Any comments, Director Cote?
Thank you. Is there any time restrictions on this? It is April, and I'm wondering if there's a closing or when people have to start work. Thanks.
Thank you for that. Yeah, go ahead, Shane.
In terms of closing on the procurement side, due to some delays in staff evaluations, we have a standard proponent submission open timeline that's already been passed, and we've discussed with everyone who submitted, and they were willing to hold their proposals open. So if we do move this, what we'll be doing is reaching back out to everyone who did submit to notify them and ask them that they do the same. They don't have to, but it's in the best interest of both parties in most of the directions.
We have Director Boyko, then Director Steer.
Health and safety.
Oh,
No,
okay,
good.
Director. Yep. Okay, go ahead, Director Steer.
Yes, thank you. And just 2 points. One, while I appreciate the intent of the scrutiny of contracts, I think one of the things I'll make 2 comments. One is around we entrust staff to do this work. There is a very strong criteria that is used that staff have, that the board has been privy to on many occasions on how these are weighted and how the scoring system works. They are professionals whose job it is to analyze these. So if there are specific issues with an individual contract that we would like to have that brought forward, then I said, then using the option that's provided to the board to be able to scrutinize that, I think is appropriate. But just to scrutinize everyone just because we don't trust the work that staff has done on these options, I don't think is in good value. And specifically on this project, we have been talking about this project for quite some time. I personally, as someone living and working on the West Coast, and who many people I know use the transit system out here, to move this project a little faster. This is delaying it again and again and again. I would like to see this project move forward. So this delay, it's going to take 2 weeks for this to get back to the board to be able to have a conversation about it again. And then we have to delay this project even further. So you can see there's a little bit of frustration because we always complain about the slowness and bureaucracy of government. And here we are slowing down the process once again. So those are the comments I'd like to make. I would like to see this contract be awarded so we can get on with this project.
Okay, thank you, Director Steer. I have Director Cote, Director Sparrow, and then Director Haggard.
Thank you. I agree with Director Steer. I think that we've come to a understanding of what the contract is, how it was awarded, and I don't really think that just for the sake of the process that we should delay this, and I agree that maybe we should move this on. Thanks.
Director Sparrow?
Thank you. The major concern was the fact there's only 1 point difference and a huge percentage difference cost-wise. Like, if it was close within a few thousand, that's great, but it's not. There's a huge cost differential, so I'm trying to figure out. I don't think we paid for it. I think the West Coast Transit pays for it, and if they want to, that's fine. But I'm trying to figure out how we're going to get to a point where we're going to talk to our taxpayers and saying the rating number is the rating number. As long as you get that up, you're good. It's not. It's about looking at the value versus the rating number. Unfortunately, yes, I understand the delay is really frustrating. I really get that. But we also have to figure out what we're doing in the future too, to figure out how this is going to progress through with other things. Because this is a lot percentage-wise for 21%. That's the difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Haggard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I agree there is a huge difference of price between the first one and the second one. However, when somebody is that much lower, that always scares me because the lowest cost is not always the best value. So I agree with Director Steer. We've been working on this for a long time. Staff has made a decision. They feel it's a good decision. So I'd like to move forward as well.
Okay, Director Roth, go ahead.
I agree with Director Sparrow. Blind faith is dangerous. There's no mistrust here. It's a learning thing, and 2 weeks is pretty small considering the overall time that it takes to do anything. It's a learning experience as well, and this option was presented in the package from staff, so we're not going against anything that the staff have done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Director Boyko and then Director Cote.
Just a final comment. Blind faith and blind trust is problematic in everything. And there are plenty of examples of problems in government awarding of contracts, not necessarily ACRD, but around the planet on a regular basis. Having the ability to look at the background details by the people making decisions that are spending taxpayer money is a good thing. We need to have that mechanism. Now, if we're going to slow down a particular project, let's skip it for this one or whatever. But at the same time, we need to have that ability. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Boyko. We'll go to Director Cote, then Director Siga.
Thank you. I think that we could all learn from something. Could we award this today and also request that the background information is provided in camera at the next meeting so that we can see that we've made the right decision?
Thank you, Director Cote. I think that's going to be what we end up doing. So, Director Siga, go ahead.
I would just like to put forward the motion.
Director Siga, wait. So we already have a motion on the floor, which is the I don't know what to call it, but the referral, the in-camera referral is probably what I'll call it for now. Director Roth, go ahead.
Can we change my original motion to reflect what Penny or what Director Cote said? Because I think there's room for it in there.
Okay, so let's review this
in camera
after we make a decision.
Yeah.
So all you would do is just maybe delete the reference to not make a decision now.
Yeah.
So if you're both okay with that, I'd allow for that to be the change in the motion.
Yeah.
So that we will commit to reviewing how this decision or how the scoring was done and all that kind of thing. And then we can have a motion to award it today.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Is that clear? Okay, thank you.
I'm
Director.
not clear what the motion is, sorry.
So the motion will be to review the process by which we arrived at the weighted scores in the briefing note. But we're not going to stop the decision from happening today to award the contract. Is that clear enough, Director Siga?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I just wasn't sure if you were frozen or not. Any further comments? So that's the motion as it stands now. That's okay with Director Cote? You were the seconder? Okay. All those in favor of the amended motion? All opposed? The motion carried. Thank you. Director Steer, would you like to read out the motion?
I would, yes, that the Alberni Clackett Regional District Board of Directors award the West Coast Transit Bus Shelter Installation Planning and Design Contract to RF Binney and Associates Limited in the amount of $81,960 excluding GST.
Seconded by Director Roth. Any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to the appointment of election officers for Cherry Creek Hall Grant and Aid referendum. I think that's Cynthia. Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you. So as we prepare to advance with the Cherry Creek Hall Grant and Aid Service Establishment referendum in conjunction with the 2026 general local elections, this report is to seek appointment of the Chief Election Officer and Deputy Chief Election Officer to organize and conduct the referendum on behalf of the regional district. So in January, the board appointed myself as Chief Election Officer and Heather Zenner as the Deputy Chief Election Officer for the general local elections, which includes the elections for the electoral area directors and the school district trustee elections. However, at that time, it was undetermined if we would be advancing any referendums. So we do require these additional appointments. The next step in the process will be for staff to meet with representatives from the Cherry Creek Community Recreation Commission to discuss the service establishment bylaw, including purpose of funds, service area boundary, cost recovery methods, and the maximum requisition amounts. Following those discussions, staff will bring back a draft service establishment bylaw for the board's consideration and the proposed referendum question.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Director Cote, please go ahead.
Thank you. There was talk about some revision to the Sprout Lake bylaw. And I'm wondering if there could be someone from the community that could also be included in this committee or group so that they are aware of what the changes that could happen to our bylaw.
So this will be specific to the Cherry Creek Hall referendum. However, we could schedule a meeting with the Sprout Lake Community Hall Association to go over what that process would look like, but it would be separate.
Follow up. Just, I'm wondering if, I know that there's a timeline for a referendum. I'm wondering if there's a need for a referendum at Sprout Lake to make that change. Or if we can just do it at the board level. Thanks.
So it would be dependent on what the change is. So we do have under the legislation that there's a certain percentage. If it's increased by that, then it doesn't need to go to the inspector of municipalities. However, if it's beyond that, then it would likely need the approval.
The question was, what's the timeline?
So for this specifically, if we were to bring it to a referendum, I think it should have been included as a budget item in the financial plan. So this one specifically for Cherry Creek Hall was included as a proposed initiative case, and the board did approve including it in the financial plan. So when Daniel did speak to other potential referendums, it was mentioned that we would be looking at 2027.
Okay, so if we need to go back to referendum, then it would be a full, just for Sprout Lake area.
but we would have to go to a full referendum again.
I think the,
Outside of the elections.
yeah, outside of the elections, yeah, because the work necessary. I think that's the case. But the real answer is it depends on how much of a change it is. And that's more complicated than I can do off the top of my head. Sorry.
So that it is 25% is what it is written in legislations, and currently the Sprout Lake Hall grant and aid is set at 12,000 as a maximum requisition. So it would need to be less than 25% to have the change. Anything beyond the 25% would require further approval.
Thank you. So back to the Cherry Creek Hall grant and aid referendum. I think the only thing I would like at some point in the future after this referendum is that we don't refer to it as a grant and aid service. That will completely confuse people. So if we can call it something different later, that would be great. But that's the only thing I could think of beyond that. So, was it moved already, or Director Sparrow, would you like to?
Thank you. No, we got talking about Sprout Lake. One more question about Sprout Lake. If they wanted to increase the service area, they need a referendum for that too, correct? I heard they were wanting to increase the service area, so that would be a referendum for next year.
Once again, I think it depends, but I think you're right. I think it's, yeah.
Okay, I'm just asking for clarity. There will be a reference next year. So I'm going to make the motion that the Alberni Lake Regional District Board of Directors appoint Cynthia Dick to the position of Chief Electoral Officer and Heather Zenner to the position of Deputy Chief Electoral Officer for the purposes of organizing and conducting a Cherry Creek Community Hall grant and aid service establishment referendum for the Alberni Lake Regional District.
Thank you. Moved. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Dr. Cote. Dr. Boyko, please go ahead.
Quick question. Is this coming out of the general budget for all areas, or just for Cherry Creek that's going to pay for it?
So for the Cherry Creek Hall, the current grant is provided by Cherry Creek and requisitioned to that property. And it is my understanding that it would remain the same. It's just more so changing the process on how those funds are flowed to the commission.
My question's more who's paying for the referendum?
Oh, the referendum. So that was 3,000 and it comes from the electoral area.
Electoral area itself, or from general everybody's paying? I just want to be very clear here.
I think Shane is looking it up as we speak.
Because when I read it, it's everybody's paying for it.
Yes, it's coming from our electoral area administration 015.
Yeah. So just to be clear, everybody's paying for this one referendum in Cherry Creek, correct?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
That is, yeah. Any further comments? Go ahead, Dr. Sparrow.
Thank you. So yes, it is coming up of all of us to pay for the referendum. But that's why it's done on the same day as election day. So it's not a separate referendum. So the staff will be there anyway. There'll just be one more piece of paper for one more different ballot. So that's why we're trying to keep the cost down.
Thank you for that. Any further comments? Seeing none. All those in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. I think that is it for planning matters. One thing that I think I'm going to do, just to be careful, because I am involved, is for Director Haggard to handle 12.1A. And I'll be out of here. One moment.
Thank you. So next on the agenda is a temporary use permit 25016 HFN Lands Corp. 390 Grappler Road in Banfield. This is for a temporary use permit. Alex, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a temporary use permit application for the dormitory building on Grappler Road. The board had considered this application in October, where the board resolved to defer a decision on the TP at that time, invite HGB to present, and that was the presentation you received today from Adrian and Patrick. The building is being reconfigured to provide the 6 larger units, as you've heard, created by joining internal doorways. The intent is to use the units as staff accommodation to manage an influx of summer staff. The applicant previously received temporary use permits in August of 2018 and June 2022 for staff accommodations on this property, and they're now seeking the new permit with the reconfigured plans to continue that use. As you've heard in the presentation, following that October 2025 board meeting, the applicants engaged the building inspector to authorize building improvements that would convert the existing dormitory building into those 6 units from what was originally 12. The applicants have provided building plans and the required engineering and letters of assurance that we need to finalize the issuance of those permits, and that building permit is ready to go. The applicants have also submitted a development permit application to and engaged a geotechnical engineer to assess the tsunami inundation risk and provide recommendations to satisfy the guidelines of the development permit area. In that case, it is anticipated that this report will be received shortly and that development permit would be issued subsequent to the TUP. The staff recommendation at this time is that the board proceed with the consideration of the permit, complete the public advertising and the neighbor notification process, and bring back any community input to be considered part of the final decision. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Alex. Is there any questions? Please go ahead, Director Cote.
Thank you. Question through the chair to staff. Has there been issued two temporary use permits already?
Yes, through the chair, there has been. Now, this is a new temporary use permit, as the number of units have changed. That is the approach that we're taking, which we're able to do under the legislation. Thanks.
Okay. When was the last temporary use permit?
Last one was issued in 2022.
So it's just past the renewal date, or?
That's correct. I don't believe they've been using it for staff accommodation since it has lapsed. I know that they are waiting to complete the renovations that are required once the building permit's issued.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Director Boyko, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. There's a little bit extra information we had when the presenter was here, but you got the same address, you're doing the same things with it, but you changed the number of accommodations and now you can do more than 2 temporary use permits? It seems like a technicality and a way to go around the rules. I don't know what everyone else thinks about that, but that seems problematic. You've had 9 years, 8 years with this permit, 7 if you count the one they just didn't have for 2025. And now nothing rezoning has happened. So we need to figure out a way to actually do this properly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Director Boyko. Any other questions or comments? Director Cote.
Thank you. So this brings up the issue about the temporary use permit that you can only do 2 times. We're going to be hitting that wall very soon for many of our temporary use permits that have already been are into their second term, I guess. Have our staff looking at any solutions for making recommendations on how to approve these temporary use permits? They have a very good use so that we could remove their license if their permit if they don't follow specific rules without having to rezone, which is high expense and permanency. With no ability to remove their permits. Have staff come up with any solutions for us moving forward? Because this is going to be an issue. Thanks.
Do you have any comments on that, Alex?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much. Staff are preparing a report specific to bylaw enforcement and around short-term rentals as well. In that report that we expect to have before you in the next month or so, hopefully, we will have some more background information on options on how to deal with the temporary use permits moving forward, recognizing that a number of them are on their expiry of their renewal. So we'll have some more information, some options for the board to consider on how to enforce those moving forward. The temporary use permit is, it is up to the discretion of the board, so you do have the ability to issue or not issue them, but we are a little hamstrung by the legislation. So hope to have more information on that for you over the next month.
Thank you, Alex. Director Roth.
If approved, will this set a precedence for others with the 2 previous TUPs?
Through the chair, no, there is no no precedence that would be set in something like this. We have considered other temporary use permits in a similar way in the past, and we are confident in that interpretation of the legislation. But again, that is it might be perceived as a precedence, but I will highlight again the board has the ability to issue or not issue temporary use permit based on the case by case review.
So it couldn't be used as an argument, a legal argument.
Thank you, Alex. Director Cote?
Thank you. So with all the information we've been provided, I would make a recommendation that the Alberni Claycott Regional District Board of Directors consider temporary use permit application TUP 25016 subject to neighborhood notification as per Local Government Act 494.
Moved by Director Cote, seconded by Director Sparrow. Any final questions or comments? Director Boyko, please go ahead.
Final question, and I might want to put a modification to the motion here, but can we say that this will be the last temporary use permit for this property until they do it? Because we've already had 2. This will be number 3, even though there is a change to it, but say, hey, we can't keep this process going forever. Thank you.
Through the chair, thank you. I think staff would not recommend that be included in a motion, because I think it's difficult to maintain procedural fairness in passing a motion like that. I think that the message is received, and I think we can note that moving forward. I would just be hesitant to pass a motion saying that the board is not willing to approve an application in the future.
Okay, I just want to make sure the message is received. Thank you very much.
Director Roth?
I'm curious, do we have anything like a special use permit? Does it always have to be a temporary use permit?
Yeah, through the chair, that's a great question. We don't at the moment, but there are some options for special event permits, business licensing, even in regional districts that are specific to short-term rentals as well. Not that this would be short-term rental, but yeah, there are some options that we are exploring, and we'll have a report back to the board here shortly on that. Thank you.
Great. Anyone else? Okay, I'd like to call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thanks very much. That would be great. Thank you, Alex. We'll just wait for the chair to come back in.
Okay, thank you, everyone. All right, so that brings us to item 12.1B, the temporary use permit for Beaufort. Alex, please go ahead.
Thank you so much. This is a temporary use permit application for an agritourism accommodation use on a 28-hectare farm located at 9010 Bryson Road in the Beaufort area. The proposed use would include up to 6 unserviced camping sites associated with educational workshops, wool dyeing workshops, and farm tours on the property. Campsites would be used over the spring and summer months, and 3 of those campsites are tent pads that are currently under construction with cooperation from the building inspector in that case. Guests would be bringing their own drinking water, and portable toilets would be brought to the site over the summer months. Island Health has provided an initial referral response indicating that they have no concerns here. There are TUP conditions that would require compliance with any Agricultural Land Commission regulations, promote fire smart principles and restrict any open burning, as well as require a caretaker availability for that seasonal campground. The Beaufort Advisory Planning Commission considered this application on March 31st, where the APC passed a motion to recommend support for the TUP. And at this time, staff recommend that the board proceed with the neighbor notification process. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments, Director Cote, please go ahead.
Thank you. I find it interesting that they're mentioning that people bring their own drinking water. Is there a reason for that?
Through the chair, the intent is for these sites to be rustic, unserviced farm stays. So there are no services provided for sewer or water to the sites. So people would be bringing in their own supply and then packing it out as well.
Thanks. Any other comments or questions or motions? Director Boyko, did you want to take this?
Thank you, Chair. I'll make a motion that the ACRD Board of Directors consider temporary use permit TBUP 26001 subject to the following: health and safety inspection of the ACRD building inspector, neighborhood notifications as per Local Government Act S 494.
Thank you. Seconded by Director Roth. Do we have a comment? See none. All those in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. That brings us to item C, which is an item for Sprout Lake rezoning. Please go ahead, Alex.
Thank you very much. This is a rezoning application for the property at 10203 Woodsley Loop in Sprout Lake. The rezoning would create the residential storage SW3 district zoning and rezone the subject property to allow for the construction of a residential garage on the vacant property without first requiring the construction of a house. The board did consider this on April 8th, where the board gave 3 readings to the bylaws after completing the public input process and receiving support for the application through the referral agency process. All outstanding requirements to complete this rezoning have been completed, and staff recommend that the board adopt the bylaws. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any comments or questions? Director Cote, please go ahead.
Thank you. One question, can anyone now apply for this zoning, or is it sort of a one-off application?
That's a great question through the chair. Thank you. This would be a zone that is included in the zoning bylaw that anybody could apply for now, and it was drafted as such to allow for greater flexibility for people to use their vacant properties for different uses rather than building a house on it, or rather than first building a house on them, to be clear. Thanks.
Second question is there a limitation on size of lot? Small, minimum and maximum?
Yeah, it was so the minimum size was done to align with the official community plan. So it would be a 1 hectare minimum for unserviced lots and a 0.24 hectare minimum for lots with communal water or sewer. And then within the zone itself, there are limits on the size of the building. So the size of the residential storage structure would be limited to 5% of the lot area, or 1,000 square feet of floor area as well. So there are some limitations on the size of the use as well as where the use can be located on the lot.
Thank you. So without going into all the detail here, seems to me there was one property that was not up to the minimum lot size. Is it this one? So if it is, do they have to try for a variance, or?
Yeah, good question. Thank you. So the site itself is 0.2 of a hectare. The minimum lot size in the zone is 0.24 of a hectare. But there is a provision in the Local Government Act that allows for a lot that was created prior to a zoning change to remain would be considered legal non-conforming. They wouldn't be able to subdivide it, but it can certainly remain as it is. And if there's any future lot line adjustments or subdivision that they intend to do, they would need to apply for a different zone to allow for that.
Okay, understanding all of that and the recommendation to move this forward by my APC. At this time, I would make a recommendation that bylaw P1536 Regional District of Alberni Clayoquot Zoning Text Amendment bylaw be adopted.
Do we have a seconder, Director Roth? Yeah, thank you. Any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? The motion carried. Thank you.
Further, I would recommend to the board that bylaw P1537, Regional District of Alberni Clayoquot Zoning Atlas Amendment Bylaw be adopted.
Thank you. Seconded by Director Roth as well. Comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? The motion carried. Thank you. Alrighty, that brings us to the next item, which is also for Sprout Lake regarding miscellaneous referral items for public meeting. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Jack. This is a public meeting report for an application to amend restrictive covenants that are registered in favor of the ACRD on the property at 10412 Lakeshore Road. The property is zoned tourist commercial C6 district, and the covenants currently limit the number of units and the floor area of each of those units on the site. The property owners intend to develop the property into a mix of 4 duplex structures and 3 single-family dwellings that would be individually strata titled with communal water and sewer systems and used as either permanent or seasonal dwellings or short-term vacation rental units under the zoning. As the covenants relate to use and density, the process in which the regional district follows to amend or discharge those covenants is to hold a public meeting, similar to public hearing, which would allow for the input from the public prior to the board considering any changes to that covenant. So that public meeting was held on April 14th last week. There were 11 members of the public in attendance. 2 letters of correspondence were received at the meeting, which expressed some concerns primarily relating to the density and the use of the property, as well as how the development will be serviced. Comments received at the meeting were a mix of support for a diversity of housing options that can create opportunities for families, and as well as concerns relating to parking, traffic, and the number of people there and the density during the summer months. Those referral agency comments that were received at the meeting either noted that their interests were unaffected or recommended support. All of the public correspondence and the comments and the referral agency comments are detailed in the public meeting report in your agenda. The details for the amended covenants would increase the number of permitted dwelling units on the property from 10 to 11, and would increase the maximum floor area of each of those units from 1,200 square feet to 2,000 square feet of living space, and allow for 2 separate road accesses from Alden Road, which is the road that bisects the property on the east side. The applicants provided an updated site plan that's included in your package that includes a guest parking area within the development. And they've also highlighted that they'll be making some parking improvements on the remainder of the property as well. If the covenants are amended, the next step in their development process would be the form and character development permit through our office, the building permit process, and then the building strata subdivision. Planning staff recognize a need for a variety of housing types in Sprout Lake, as identified in the housing needs report as well, including attached duplex dwellings and strata titled dwellings with common services. The proposed development would allow for some flexibility in the diversity of housing types in that area, while also providing the opportunity for short-term rental accommodation within an area that's already zoned for tourist commercial uses as well. So at this time, staff recommend that the board resolve to amend the covenants and direct staff to work with the applicants to confirm wording and to execute those amended covenants as proposed. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. It's very interesting. I like this process. I believe that this is the regional district's first public meeting rather than a public hearing for such an application that's come forward that no longer requires a public hearing. So having the applicant agree to working with the regional district and neighbors to do a public meeting, I think was a great step in the right direction for consultation and public input. The public meeting, I think in my opinion, was quite a success. The applicants were presented their vision going forward. So there was questions regarding density, but it seems to me that the APC and people that attended the public meeting identified the need for density because these houses are going to be for sale duplexes, whatever. And people could actually move into them with a family. We do, our housing density, housing needs study revealed that in 20 years, we should be developing 297 new homes for people. Sprout Lake is one of those unique places that I really didn't believe that the housing needs study revealed a reality for Sprout Lake because it's so unaffordable to live there, to build. The property is so expensive that almost 300 homes is a really high bar to try and meet. I think that there's been proven a need for homes, and this may be a solution. The property, when the covenant came in, there was a development in the upper portion that was subdivided off with 10 lots that were supposed to be low-cost housing option. There's 4 short-term vacation rental applications that have been approved up there now, which was disappointing to me at the time. But understanding that these new options are already zoned to be able to be short-term vacation rentals. I think that the plan actually gives an opportunity for people to actually buy them and actually live in them. I understand that they addressed a lot of the concerns, in my opinion, and the APC's opinion regarding parking with parking permit, so that people will actually, they're increasing the amount of parking that they have. Each unit has 2 parking spaces, 1 in the garage, 1 in the driveway, plus another 5 parking spaces up at the top level, top road, plus down in front. I think that they're going to be able to cover those requirements. As far as density goes, there's 3 bedroom places. It seems to me that they're more adaptable to family coming in where you have children, and it doesn't seem to be an issue with the upper temporary use permit properties being unruly, shall we say. I have a question to staff. So approving this, is there opportunity at the subdivision to do covenants or requests for rules to be in place similar to the temporary use permits, so that the residents that live next door and around have an option to be able to live in peace and enjoy their properties without having unrestricted access to what's going on there, as meaning noise, any kind of infractions or whatever. So that's my question. Thank you.
Yes, through the chair. I think there's a couple options there. So if the subdivision and the development is approved, they will have a strata. So the strata can certainly manage their development in the way that they wish, much like other stratas do on the lake. But we also have our nuisance bylaws that can deal with things like noise, use of the property, parking. If that becomes an issue, we can work with our partners at the Ministry of Transportation. So there's a number of ways that we can help regulate the use of the site. I would also highlight that if the covenant amendment proceed and the development proceeds, there is the form and character development permit that would be required. So that's the opportunity for the ACRD to have a say in how the development looks, what the screening is, and what the buffering is from neighboring properties, fencing if that's required. So it allows us to have some say in the form of the development that can help mitigate some of those nuisance issues with the neighbors. So we'll certainly work with the applicants on that moving forward.
Thank you. One further question. I'm happy to see all of the development on the upland side of Lakeshore Road and nothing proposed for the water front side where the marina is. I'm just from the description of the applicant's proposal here, it's just for that to go up top, recognizing that the property on the water side of Lakeshore floods quite a bit. And I'm just wondering, is there anything that could be in place so that no further development can happen on that side of the road? Because I believe this property is all one, is linked. But this application is just for the upper.
Yes, absolutely. Through the chair, so the covenant would limit the placement of any of the units to the north side of the road. So there would not be any dwellings permitted on that lower side of the road. I know that they intend to keep access for parking for the marina uses they have down there, and they did highlight in the public meeting that they intend to make some improvements to the parking area as needed as well. Thanks.
Great, thank you. I really wanted the board to understand what this application is. So with understanding that there's these opportunities to make sure that there's some restrictions on moving forward with this for the benefit of the neighbors, I would like to, at this time, make a recommendation that the Alberni Clayoquot Regional District Board of Directors receive the public meeting report.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Dr. Sparrow. Any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? Motion carried.
I would move that the Alberni Clayoquot Regional District Board of Directors receive the public meeting minutes.
Thank you. Seconded by Dr. Sparrow. Any further comment? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? Motion carried.
I would move that the Alberni Clayoquot Regional District Board of Directors proceed with amendments to restrictive covenants FB 194074 and FB 194076 registered on the property at 10412 Lakeshore Road to allow for proposed development up to 11 dwelling units, each with a maximum floor area of 2,000 square feet and 2 road accesses to the property from Alden Road.
Thank you. Seconded by, thank you, Dr. Sparrow. Any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, thank you for that.
Could I add one more thing?
Please go ahead.
Just that on further subdivision, I'm wondering if I should make a motion regarding anything that covers what I was talking about with making sure that there's restrictions on use so that it gives the neighborhood the satisfaction that there will be some rules in place to cover any issues that arise.
Yeah, I think the options would be, if you'd like to make a motion to that effect, we can certainly do that. Otherwise, I'm happy for staff to work with the applicants to ensure that moving forward as well.
Okay, I'll make that motion, whatever Alex said.
So I think the intent there, Director Cote, was that that staff would work with the applicants to ensure that any restrictions are in place to limit nuisances within the neighborhood.
Thank you, that's it.
All right. Perfect.
Okay, that's moved and seconded by someone. Thank you, Dr. Roth. Any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Chair, I'd like to thank staff for working through this application. It's kind of the first of its kind. The first time when this development came forward. I was a newbie on the board, and yeah, it's been a long process. Thank you to staff.
And on behalf of the board, thank you. So with that in mind, that brings us to item E, which is an item for Beaver Creek regarding a rezoning application. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. This is a rezoning application for a 5.6 hectare riverfront property located at 5750 Fall Street in the Beaver Creek area. The applicants intend to construct a 100-site campground on the property with campground amenity buildings and 2 caretaker dwellings included with the development. The campground would be intended for tourists and seasonal temporary accommodation and open year round. It would be fully serviced with campsites located on the east half of the property, a minimum 60 meters away from the river, from the Somas River in that case. And the campground commercial C8C district has been created as a site-specific zone that would apply to this development. This application was first considered by the board in July 2023, where the board resolved to require additional information from the applicants prior to considering the bylaws for first reading. That additional information included an indication of support in principle from First Nations, as well as initial water, sewer, and geotechnical safety recommendations for servicing the campground development. Following the initial board review, the applicants have been working hard on meeting those requirements of rezoning in order to proceed with their development review. The applicants have now submitted a new package of information that is detailed in this report. This includes a letter of support from the Sechot First Nation, a geotechnical engineering assessment that reviewed the risks associated with tsunami inundation and seasonal flooding, and also establishes a flood construction level for the campsites. An engineering assessment on the on-site sewage disposal requirements to service the entire development, as well as a traffic study that assessed the access into the development, the impact on the surrounding road network, and accessibility within the proposed internal road system. So these reports are all included in the board package for your review and are detailed in the staff report. Staff recommendation at this time is that the board proceed with first reading of the bylaws and delegate a public hearing to be held to gather input and referral agency comments on this development. The Beaver Creek Advisory Planning Commission reviewed the updated information package and expressed their continued support for this application at their meeting on April 15th. There is a recognized need for additional campground capacity in the Alberni Valley. That's detailed in the staff report, and staff do feel this property presents an opportunity for an appropriately serviced campground that is located close to those community services and recreational amenities that we do have. The proposed campground would intend to limit the impact on the sensitive ecosystems with a minimum setback of 60 meters maintained from the Somas River and the flood elevation for the campsites. And I'll just quickly highlight that the rezoning would remove the intensive uses that are currently permitted with the existing A4 zoning as well. So in addition to the technical requirements that I've addressed and the applicants have addressed here in the package, further conditions of rezoning that would require confirmation include water servicing. So whether they go by on-site water or by petitioning to be included within the Beaver Creek water service area, the registration of a covenant to meet the flood elevation requirements for the campsites, and an easement to allow for continued access to the neighboring property. And finally, confirmation of support from the Ministry of Transportation and Transit, from Island Health, and from the First Nations. Happy to answer any questions here.
Sure, I'd like to put forward the motions, or should I start now?
I think Director Sparrow had a comment, and then we'll go right back to you, if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
A few questions and comments. It looks like this goes right across the Somas River. So if that is the case, then there'll be fishermen there in September, October, camping like you do at St. Falls. It'd be great for that. But my question centers around the water system. They don't have water right now, but they have the water main on the edge of their property. So they're gonna have to ask Beaver Creek water system. They'll actually have water there from Beaver Creek. But would that be a service extension of Beaver Creek water service area? And if so, would that also be involving the city to do that too? Because the service area expansion involving Beaver Creek water requires the city's authorization, so not.
Thank you, Director Sparrow. Through the chair, yes, absolutely. So the applicants have engaged with our water services staff already, and the history of this site, even though the water line goes right across the frontage of the property. The larger parcels on the west side of Falls, north of Paper Mill Dam Park, were not included in the service area. So this property is outside of that Beaver Creek Water Service Area. They would need to petition to be brought in. There is a process for that they have started, and that will be going to the Beaver Creek Water Advisory Committee for comment, and then I believe from there it would it either goes to our board or the city. I'm not sure on the process there, but the city does have some involvement on the petition to be included in that water service area. I would highlight that right now they service the property with a well, and so they have the ability to expand upon that and create a private water system that would be licensed by Island Health if that's an alternative that would be more suitable to them. But I do think it makes sense to service it from the Beaver Creek water main that is, like I says, at the top of the property right there. Thank you.
Yeah, all good. Okay. Dr. Roth.
Okay. I would like to move that bylaw P1465 Beaver Creek Official Community Plan Amendment bylaw be read a first time.
Thank you. Seconded by Director Sparrow. Any further comments? Seeing none. All those in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Please go ahead.
I move that bylaw P1466 Regional District of Alberni-Clayoquot Zoning Text Amendment bylaw be read a first time.
Seconded by Dr. Sparrow. Thank you. Any further comments? Seeing none. All those in favor? All opposed? Motion carried.
I move that bylaw P1482 Regional District of Alberni-Clayoquot Zoning Atlas Amendment bylaw be read a first time.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Lots of people. Director Boyko, thank you. Any further comment? Seeing none. All those in favor? Motion carried. Thank you.
I move that the public hearing for bylaws P1465, P1466, and P1482 be delegated to the Director for Electoral Area E, the alternate director, or the chairperson of the regional district.
Thank you. Seconded by Dr. Sparrow. Thank you. Any further comments? Seeing none. All those in favor? All opposed? Motion carried.
This is a long one. I move that the Board of Directors confirm that adoption of bylaws P1465, P1466, and P1482 is subject to A, support from Tishat and Hupacheset First Nations, B, the applicants agreeing to a covenant to limit the siting of all campsites to a flood construction level established by geotechnical engineer, and to certify that the property is safe for the intended use as it relates to seasonal flooding and tsunami inundation. C, agreement to include the property within the Beaver Creek Water Service Area and confirmation that the Beaver Creek water system can service the 100-site campground, or confirmation of a suitable alternative for water servicing. D, confirmation from a registered on-site wastewater practitioner that the property has the capacity to accommodate on-site sewage disposal for the 100-site campground. E, issuance of a commercial access permit from the Ministry of Transportation and Transit. F, completion of a traffic study to assess the impact of the development on the road network. G, registration of an easement over the existing driveway to provide continuous access to the neighboring property described as Parcel E, District Lot 7. And H, meeting all technical referral agency requirements.
Thank you for that. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Dr. Sparrow. Any further comments? Seeing none. All those in favor? All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. All right, that brings us to item F, which is another item for Beaver Creek. Please go ahead, Alex.
Thank you very much. This is a development variance application for a 0.65 hectare vacant property located on Willow Road in the Beaver Creek area. The applicants intend to construct a 900 square foot home on the sloping property and have proposed siting within the most suitable building envelope available that will require reductions in the front yard and the side yard setbacks in the A2 zone and from the watercourse setback from Consuxus Creek. The proposed building site is located outside of the 15-meter riparian area and no development permit will be required. The applicants are working with the building inspector to ensure that any geotechnical engineering requirements are met with this build as well. Beaver Creek APC supported the application at their April 15th meeting, and planning staff recommend that the board proceed with the neighbor notification process prior to making a final decision on the variance. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Roth?
Sure, can I just move forward or were there any questions? I'll just go ahead. Okay. I'll move that the Alberni Clayoquot Regional District Board of Directors consider issuing development variance permit DVE 25013, subject to neighbor notification as per Local Government Act Section 499.
Thank you. Seconded by Director Cote. Any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? The motion carried. Thank you.
Move that development variance DVE 25013 to allow for the siting of a single-family dwelling. Development variance of the ACRD zoning bylaw, Schedule 2 bulk and site regulations to reduce the required front yard setback in the rural A2 district from 15.2 meters to 10.4 meters. 2, development variance of the ACRD zoning bylaw, Schedule 2 bulk and site regulations to reduce the required side yard setback along the north lot line in the rural district from 4.6 meters to 2.5 meters. And 3, development variance of section 6.24A of the ACRD zoning bylaw to reduce the required watercourse setback from 30.5 meters to 17.8 meters.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Director Sparrow. Any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Alrighty, I think that's it. Yep, it is for our planning matters. So that brings us into staff reports. Would anyone like to pull anything out of staff reports, including staff? Seeing none, we have a motion to receive the reports, please. Thank you, Director Roth. Seconded by someone. Thank you, Director Sparrow. Any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. That brings us to item 13.2, which are committee reports. We have verbal reports, A and B. First up is Director Boyko regarding the AgDev committee. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. We had the Ag Development Committee meeting yesterday, just after lunch. It was well attended. Talked about the Sproul Lake CP update. We had discussions about food security, water planning, livestock, emergency planning. One of the main large discussions is on there's a $25,000 budget for agricultural planning items, and lots of questions on how this is allocated, how approves the budget, and where it goes back and forth. So some items that came up from it was items related to farmers market, things like the cost of the farmers market at Harbor Key is going up from the city, and how do we implement it across people there and get new people there? And they now need powered freezers to sell meat, little things like this. So I'm sure they'll be coming to us in the budget for next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Director Cote, please go ahead.
Thank you. Just that there's a referendum that's going forward at AVICC. Resolution, sorry, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. And next up is the Electoral Areas Directors Committee meeting for today. Director Sparrow.
Thank you for that. Yeah, we're here this morning going over the EA Directors Committee meeting. We had a major planning project. This is the first time they come up to our EA meetings first. It was to do with a Great Central Lake application of 226 acres, 226 acres to be developed. Excuse me. And the idea was they came to, or the EA Directors Committee to review and provide feedback at this point before they went to the APC and before they came to the board. So we spent the majority of the morning talking about our thoughts, both Pro and Con were on the idea, and to give feedback so they can move forward with their application before it comes to this board. And we spend a lot of time discussing all the stuff we could discuss there. So it was met positively by all the people that were there, including the applicants. So we found it very helpful that we did that, and we got some great feedback, and they got a great direction of where they want to go now. So hope as they move forward. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions? I see none. Could we have a motion to receive the reports? Thank you, Director Roth, seconded by Director Coots. Any further comments? I see none. All those in favor? All opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay, that brings us to member reports. Perhaps we'll go around the table. That might be the way to do it. And you can just say no report if you don't have any. Director Haggard?
I'm not prepared to give reports, so no report, sorry.
Okay, so maybe we should just revert to if anybody has anything they'd like to report. Maybe that's more standard. Director Cote?
Thank you. Just that ABICC is this weekend. Looking forward to the end of my sitting on the table. Just like to remind those directors that are not attending the conference that you do also have the ability to vote for the executive. So there should be an email out to you giving you that opportunity. So please take advantage of it. I'm hoping that there will be someone off the floor from our area, or someone in particular that has actually asked about it. Councillor Anderson. So yeah, Sean. And anyways, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Sparrow?
Okay, so I have two reports. I have the first one from Tawaskin logging there. They're going to plan on doing 25,000 cubic meters per month of logging this year, which is more than last year, but still it is very low. It's very low. It's below 50% of what they have. It's really low. So they're not very happy about that, but that gives you the state of the industry right now, how bad it is out there for that. There's a few indicators we go through to see how the health of the forest is and different ecosystems that are out there. And one of the things that was brought up was the Mount Underwood fire for 2025 and how it's going to affect the indicators moving forward, including forest cover and reforestation and greenhouse gases and that. That's going to change the indicators they're going to have now because the fire was part of their district. They lost a lot of their trees and also they've also lost a lot of their carbon footprint too. So moving forward, they're going to see a lot of indicators that change out there because of the fire that we had last year. So that's my report for them. My second report is tomorrow is the AGM for the Cherry Creek Water Board for those who want to attend or can attend. I can't be there. I'll be in Victoria at another meeting. So, but just let you know that's out there too.
Thank you very much. Director Roth, any reports?
No report, thank you.
Thank you. We'll just go online now. Director Boyko, reports?
Thank you, Chair. We'll be doing our final town hall on June 14th, Sunday at 2 p.m. and that'll be our final one before the election. We'll be discussing mainly the Beaufort OCP items that have been discussed twice with the APC, and we'll have a further discussion in May to simplify the OCP and present it to the public and get all their feedback. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you for that. We'll go through the list. Dr. Siga, any reports? Okay, Dr. McEwen, any reports?
Just that I'll be at ABICC this weekend and we'll see you all there.
Great. Dr. Coots, any reports?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No report currently, just giving out my thanks to the directors who will be attending ABICC. I unfortunately have another ongoing commitment, so I will not be there with you. But thank you, Director Cote, for the reminder that the email should come out and I will participate in the voting with you all. Thank you. Click up, Chair.
Thank you. Dr. Beckett.
Like Director McEwen, I am looking forward to seeing friends and colleagues and learning a great deal at the conference this weekend.
Thank you. Dr. Steer.
No report.
Thank you. Dr. Mastrangelo.
Thank you. No report right now.
Thank you. And Dr. Siga.
No report, thanks.
Thank you. Dr. Cote, did you have another thing?
I do. Just a reminder that our Sprout Lake OCP open house will be May the 4th at the community hall, starting at 5:30. Also doing a group water test for the community or anyone that would like to participate. Group water testing Monday, May the 11th. There's sample bottles here that have to be dropped off at the community hall if you're interested. Also yesterday I had a meeting with Forest Timber Sales and reviewed their annual cut for the next 5 years. Looking at a lot of old growth areas that are potential for the future that may be incorporated, but they keep pushing them off. Not a huge amount of proposed cuts, and everything looks very acceptable as far as what they're proposing, what their timber sales are going to be. Thanks.
Thank you for that. Oh wait, I should make a report. Yeah, on behalf of Huu-ay-aht, at the end of next week, we are entering in a by-election period to fill the seat left empty by the late Stella Peters. And so we're not entirely pens down per se, but we are supposed to make sure that we stay away from creating new programs, making new distributions and that kind of thing. So according to our laws, we have some restrictions placed on government because it's a by-election rather than the general election. Those restrictions are a bit more limited, which really just means that there's likely more time for me to cause trouble here. So I can be more available to sign things, finance department. So with that in mind, though, we will have a newly elected member of council on June 13th or whatever the Saturday is closest to that. And yeah, we'll see how that plays out. I think that's it for our reports. Could we have a motion to receive the reports, please? Thank you, Director Roth. Seconded by Director Coots. Any further comments? Seeing none. All those in favor? All opposed? The motion carried. Thank you. All right, that brings us to item 14, which is other business, which is including late items. We do have 14A, which is the item regarding the log train trail. So I'd like to welcome Michael McGregor, and please take it away when you're ready.
Good afternoon. So yeah, I have a request for decision report regarding enhanced community engagement for the log train trail. So after a long planning phase here, we're looking at taking the next step into the next project phase, building on what's already been heard through previous public engagement and the direction that was provided by the board previously. So we are now at a point where clear and coordinated public communication is important to navigate the upcoming project phase and to address the question from earlier in this meeting. So the approach isn't revisiting past decisions or redoing previous engagements. It is intended to guide us through this next phase that's built on the previous work done. So just looking forward over the next few months here, it's anticipated that the board's going to be reviewing drafts for an enforcement plan and lease update shortly. And then the review and potential adoption of that will likely occur over 2 to 3 committee of the whole and board meetings, dependent on how many changes might be required. So it's anticipated that after adoption, we jump into transition and beginning this summer likely. And today we're seeking board direction for proceeding with a structured and proactive public engagement approach during this phase while we move into this type of work. So what that will do for us is enhance community engagement, is going to help this transition process, provide a project update for the public after a period of communication and activity, and provide some clear and accurate information for the public, improve transparency regarding the decision processes and upcoming changes, and manage public expectations, and also dedicate an avenue to gather further public input. Happy to answer any questions on this.
Thank you. Before we get to speakers, I'm wondering if you could speak to the concerns raised by Colin McClellan during our input period?
Yeah, so what I wrote down from there was, I mentioned that, we're not redoing the public engagement that's already occurred. We're just building on top of it. And we're not revisiting the decisions that have been made by the board or through the management planning process that was done previously. Colin did mention, why is this different than the Bamfield dock, feasibility study? I'd say that, we don't operate or own any of the Bamfield dock at the moment, while we have been operating and maintaining the log train trail since 1993. So, during the management planning process, we identified, or at the board identified, their management plan and objectives here, and this is the process that we're pursuing to, achieve those objectives there.
Okay, thank you. I have Director Boyko and then Director Roth.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to have a series of questions here. And mainly my first thing is I'm going to put forward a motion to the board that I would like the same level of detail and public engagement that has been done with the Bamfield dock earlier this year. So provide a detailed cost analysis to the public, what's been done before we start spending any additional funds on engagement, et cetera, et cetera. So the background of this is we've already spent $50,000 on public engagement. We had 3 big, well-attended meetings. We had surveys. We had well over 1,000 people in here, and very high level of public engagement. And we have a very strong menu to do what we do. We passed the Log Train Trail Management Plan and adopted it in this board January 15th, 2024. We said it would take 12 to 18 months to implement, and we're at month 28 right now. I have questions on what we actually intend to achieve here. We already have direction on what we need to do. We've already discussed things in detail, what we do. The public indicates they want the signs to go up. They want an etiquette plan. And I'm not sure why we should continue to spend money on this when we already know what we want to do. We have clear direction from the public to do it and what will be yielding anything else. People want the plan. They want to implement it and move on. We've had a regional parks working group working on this for the past year, and I'm sure we'll hear more about what their effectiveness is and things like that moving forward. But I fail to see what additional engagement will give us more than what we do. All we're going to do is slow down the process from 28 months to probably after the election now, and then who knows what's going to happen, right? Is that the plan, to slow us down that much? The people are already upset that this has taken this long. So I'm going to vote against any further engagement. We already know what we need to do. It's up to staff to implement it. We've given them clear direction. Let's move forward. So that's my process, and I'll make a motion to not do further public engagement based on what we've already done, which has been very detailed. We've had lots of meetings. We've had, I don't know how many meetings in this boardroom, outside engagement and everything else. First motion, and then I'll make the second motion after that.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Director Roth.
Sorry, just to clarify, can you clarify the motion, Director Boyko?
The motion will be to not proceed with further public engagement based upon what we already have, and we have clear direction on what we need to do based on the previous 3 years of public engagement and discussions in this boardroom. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments, Director Roth, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a few questions too, and I completely agree with Director Boyko. So what has changed? What new or material information has emerged since that engagement that would justify repeating community consultation at additional taxpayers' expense? What would be the estimated cost of re-engagement or additional planning? And given clear public direction, provincial ownership of the Log Train Trail, and no apparent change in circumstances, what specific problem are we trying to solve by revisiting this issue? And then following Colin or public input received earlier this meeting, I would like to defer directing staff to pursue enhanced community engagement until the financial implications for taxpayers related to the Log Train Trail are clearly outlined. So it's basically what Director Boyko has said. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Director Cote, please go ahead.
Thank you. I've received information from a survey that was conducted by the Sprout Lake Property Owners Association. One of the questions was in regard to the log train trail and support for it. So I think that there does need to be further engagement, public engagement, because I don't think the people in my area are fully understanding what the implications are for cost and what the service actually does for us. So I would support getting more information out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? Director Haggard, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with what Michael said earlier during his presentation. This is just further public engagement. They're not trying to rediscuss what was originally discussed in the public engagement a couple of years ago. This is new information and new things that have to be discussed and planned and approved by the public. So I will support further public engagement.
Thank you. Director Siga?
Thank you. Yeah, just based on what happened with the previous residents and the difficulties they experienced, I think it's really important that there be this engagement.
Thank you. I have Director Sparrow and then Director Roth.
Thank you. Since the public engagement we had years ago at Plainsville and that, we actually have changed what we're going to do. We're going to make part of it motorized, not all of it motorized. So we have changed what we're going to do. And maybe the public needs to be educated on what that is and what the signage and what the intent is, because we haven't done that yet. The board made a decision to make McLean's Mill South non-motorized and McLean's Mill North motorized, but that was never relayed out to the public in any form that I can know of. And we need a communication process to go forward to telling us what our intent is and also the financial implications of what we're going to need to do in order to make it motorized. Are we going to need more bylaw officers? Are we going to need more signage? And what are we going to need out there? So people need to understand the costs of what's going to happen if they want to put their motorized vehicles on there. And the second thing is, if we put motorized vehicles on there, that means all motorized vehicles, not just the ones they think there's going to go on there. That's also part of the process too. Thank you.
Good. Thank you for that. Director Roth, please go ahead. And then Director Boyko.
I'd like to confirm the ownership of the log train trail and also the cost of re-engagement or additional planning.
Michael?
Yeah, I'll take that. So ownership is owned by the Ministry of Transportation and Transit. They took over ownership from McClellan or M&B when it was transferred from a railway to a rail corridor. And then the ACRD has established a lease where we operate recreational use as a trail since 1993. And it's been a revolving lease since then.
Okay, thank you. And the cost of re-engagement and additional planning?
I know I have 4,000 to 5,000 in the report here, but we can scale the engagement to the desires of the board. It is mostly an inform of the changes and the upcoming lease updates, engagement plan, and regulatory updates there. So it could just be informing mostly, as opposed to back and forth gathering of information. It can be scalable however the board would see fit.
Okay, because really the financial implications for taxpayers, we need to know. I mean, this has been going on for so long. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Boyko. And then I'll have last word.
I agree. This is going on way too long, and we need to know how much money we're spending on this to do this properly. And further engagement, I don't think anyone's interested in that. Having discussions on how it will be implemented and telling people what we're planning on doing, that's what we can do, and people would look forward to that as we're implementing it. Okay? We all know what the signs look like. We all know what the trail etiquette's going to be. We've discussed that 3 years ago, and nothing has changed, and we're ready to go. So until you can give me some evidence that things have changed, and they have not, we're ready to go forward with this. So if we're going to talk to people, let's modify the wording and say we're not doing engagement. We will have a public Signage boards of this is how this is going to be implemented. Here is what the sign's going to say. Here is the etiquette, and we're prepared to move forward and go forward. I would support that. And we've already had those discussions with our town halls and everything else, and bring everybody out. And if people from Sprout Lake want to drive out there and talk about it now, even though they had the chance to do it 3 years ago, maybe they'll show up this time, then hey, let's do it and invite everybody. But engagement and restarting the process and things like that, when you have over 80% of the people want the same thing and over 1,000 people participated, you don't get a stronger mandate than that. So you got two options here. Modify the wording, take this away and come back to us at the next board meeting on how you plan on implementing this. Because I know there's going to be some discussions that are happening between now and then that will give us more clarity. And I would say we pause it until we get a better financial picture of what this will cost us, and then bring back on how we plan on implementing this in a timely, efficient, cost-effective manner. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I have a couple of questions for Michael. In regards to the enhanced community engagement, this would be an additive process, not something that restarts or somehow redoes or eliminates the input that was already collected. Is that true?
That's correct. Yeah, it's guiding the next phase as we, look at the lease update and regulatory adoption, and then informing the public of the changes as we go through those.
Okay. So going through with enhanced community engagement on this would be primarily more about informing the public as to what's been done already, rather than trying to garner or gather more input to alter the agenda per se? Is this more about communication than it is about receiving feedback?
Yes, I would say that's a good description. We could change it to the communication plan or enhanced communication plan as opposed to engagement. I think that'd be an accurate description. In there, we have the sample of the public engagement plan attached to the report there, and under engagement levels by project component there. We have inform under most of those items. So the lease update, trail signage, shared use etiquette, trail gate modifications, volunteer involvement, and safety improvements. But we do have consult and involve under what the signs look like, the volunteer involvement as we go through this process. So we could focus on inform for most of that. And then we also will be talking about that volunteer framework previously discussed too, and that could be a separate item.
I think whatever the signs look like from an aesthetic perspective isn't necessarily big C consultation, to use Indigenous terminology. I think the use of the term engagement is what kind of confused this conversation. So I think, thank you for the clarification there. I thought that that's what it was going to be, given what I read this morning. But I'm glad we've gotten there. Eddie, you have your hand up. Please go ahead.
Yeah, if I can just jump in quickly and through the chair, thank you. And great explanation. Yes, I think if we reframe it from engagement to communication, and communication ongoing, that really we're looking to keep the public informed as to what we're doing as we move forward to the next steps of the process, really. And we are expecting to get moving on that at the next COW meetings. We do have some movement coming, and really, yeah, communication instead of engagement, I think, is the key point.
Yeah, because it seems like the source of the concern is that there's been enough engagement and input already for us to determine the direction we're going in. And the concern is, and I think Director Boyko and Director Roth have expressed this fairly well, is that this, because of the word engagement, it felt like going back to try to get a different result rather than informing and communicating. So in the future, we need to be much more careful around the wording that we use, because there are pitfalls in using the wrong terminology, because people interpret things according to a lot of different ways. And I've seen that a few times here and there. The premier did that with the whole DRPA stuff in the past couple of months, and you can see where we're at with that now. So communicating clearly is important. Thank you for the clarification. With those clarifications in place, though, does that change the overall approach? Because this is more about informing the public as to what the plan already is based on the decision that the board has already made. Is that an accurate depiction of what is trying to be done here, Michael?
Yeah, I agree with that. Informing the public on the direction that the board's established already.
Okay, so if it is not going back to square one and engagement and input, but in fact just informing what it is we're doing, does that make this motion redundant? Director Roth and then Director Boyko?
Yeah, then why are we even here, really? Isn't that
I think what both you and Director Boyko were doing was just making sure that this isn't re-rolling the dice. The dice have already been thrown.
Well, that's what it seems like.
Yeah,
right.
that-
And then what message are we sending the people that have already contributed, you know? Yeah.
But that is not the intent. It was just not communicated well. So
Okay,
does that help?
Yeah, I'll see what Fred
Okay.
has to say here. but-
Director Boyko, go ahead.
I agree with everything going on in the last 5 minutes here. We need to just tell people what's happening, give them an update on things. Make sure it's very clear on our communication with the province on the etiquette plan and the enforcement plan, when things are going to happen, implementation timeline, all communication back and forth. That's what the public wants to see. Okay, we've been talking about this for over 3 years, and they want to see us actually be able to do something and implement things. Now, I can't turn my camera around and show you the back camera, but I'm going to flip my screen around and let's see. Can you guys see that? Is that clear? That's not clear. Hold on. I'm going to turn off my blurriness thing here. But this is a 10-second operation that you can find in, how do you want to say? Just Google this, and we've already gone through this many times on how to do this, but here's the key.
Oh yeah, okay.
All right.
We can see it now.
We've had things with 15 arrows in here. It does not need to be any more complicated than this. If you need to have staff take a screenshot of this, everybody in the world agrees that this is the best way to do it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Dr. Boyko. So I guess what we do then is, if the motion isn't necessary, we could either withdraw it or just vote it down, whatever's faster. I can't remember who moved it. Sorry, was it Director Boyko? Yeah. Is it okay just to
I'll nullify the motion.
Yeah.
And the only thing I'll say is I'll support this if we reword it and staff comes back in 2 weeks with a reworded plan on how they plan on implementing this. Are they going to mail things to people? Are they going to put an email to the website? Are we going to have a meeting at McLean's Mill? What is the plan? So I'll pass it back to staff to come back with a real forward plan on how to do this. Thank you.
Okay, so motion will be duly withdrawn. The chair recognizes that. Could we then just have a motion to have staff come back with a new recommendation based on input garnered at this meeting?
I will fully support that motion, and I'll put that forward to say staff come back with a plan on implementation notification to the public to include what sign we're going to do, what the etiquette plan, like the little triangle I just showed you guys, what the plan is for enforcement and potential or not potential options. What is the enforcement plan and how we're going to figure that out, and what's been all the communication with the province. Be transparent and accountable, because 28 months now, and this is going to be at least another 3 months to get through this. Thank you.
Okay, if we can keep the motion simple and just base it on the discussion we're having now. then-
Motion, come back with an implementation plan in 2 weeks at the next board meeting.
Okay, thank you. All right, seconded by Director Roth. Director Siga, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that we could probably just do the original recommendation and just exchange the word engagement related to the log train trail to communication during the lease update transition phase. I think that's what they're looking for, is just some affirmation that this is the process. And I think that the specifics of the signage can be down the road as they get to that.
Okay, based on our feedback, is it okay if we just direct them to clarify based on what we said here, and then we can just let them go and do it? Is that okay, or do you want to see a document, Director Boyko?
The public's watching us, and they want to see that we can listen to them and implement what they've mandated us to do. So I would like this to be a forward plan. This showed up out of nowhere, okay? This just showed up on Friday, and then it came as a late item here to the public here, last night or this morning. We can't have stuff like this that people have been very highly motivated and charged about for 3 years plus now just show up at the last minute. So I would prefer we let staff take this away for 2 weeks, come back with a little bit more documentation on the implementation plan and how they plan on presenting this. Are we gonna have a meeting at McLean's Mill, blah, blah, blah. Forward. Make sure everyone gets a chance to come out. Everyone, all the different areas can show up, that kind of thing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Director Siga?
I see that as just prolonging the engagement. I would just like to pass this and let the staff get to work.
Okay, well, we do have a motion on the floor now already. We'll see what results from this motion, and then we'll see what happens afterwards if need be. So the motion is to come back in 2 weeks with better wording and a more detailed plan for that information communications and implementation. Okay, all those in favor? Okay, all opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay, thank you. All right. I will say it was a bit of a late item, so a 2-week delay isn't going to be that crazy, I think. Okay, thank you, everyone. That brings us into question period. 15 minutes total. Public will be permitted to ask questions for up to 3 minutes on an agenda item. No video, no presentations, no handouts, no props. Virtually attendees, please raise your hand, although I don't think anybody's in there. And in-person attendees, please raise your hand and then come forward. Yep, please go ahead. Oh, make sure to introduce yourself and tell us where you're from.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Heather Powell, and I'm from the local area.
Oh, you have to identify where you're from.
3133 Alberni Highway.
Oh, okay, thank you. So Cherry Creek? Okay.
But the reason why I'm here today is regarding the Falls Road application. And I would just like to draw something to everybody's attention, and that's that the application is along the Sumas River, which we all know, and they did a comprehensive environmental through Lee Environmental and Geotechnical. But one of the things that I think is missing from the report is actually a stormwater management plan. And the reason why I'm suggesting this is that it's highly intensive, what they're doing right beside the river. And although they've talked about floodplains and raising the site in their technical report, one of the things that's not in the technical report is stormwater management. And in that report, it indicates that there is water and pooling existing right now. And so when you put 100 RVs on top of the property and now there's no drainage, there could potentially be massive amounts of runoff to the Sumas River. I don't want to be negative because I think it's a wonderful development for our area and I support it completely. I just was hoping that perhaps maybe I'd missed something in reading the technical reports, and I just wanted to draw that attention to everyone.
Okay. Oh, Falls Street, right? Item E, that's the one you're talking to?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So that's the Beaver Creek area. Thank you for that. Can you put that in the form of a question? I feel like Jeopardy at this point. Is there?
My question is, could somebody from the board make a motion to add a stormwater management plan? Would they be willing to do that for that property as it pertains to the impact that it may have upon the river? Is it possible for somebody to make a motion to have that looked at, or is it possible for at least the planning department to add that to one of the requirements?
Okay, thank you. I think I'll go to Alex first because there's a long list of things that were included, and it might be covered off by item B, but I'm not sure. The last motion, item B. But Alex, please go ahead.
Yeah, through the chair. Thank you, Ms. Powell, for that suggestion. I actually think that that's a really good idea to clarify, because that, you know, that is an impact that that should be addressed as a part of the development. So if the board were to make or pass a motion to add the inclusion of a stormwater management plan as a condition of the rezoning approval, then the staff can certainly relay that message and communicate that with the applicant.
Okay, so that could be an amending motion to the final motion in item E. Director Roth, would you like to do that? Okay, we'll find the right wording for it, but it's floodwater management report?
No, it's actually a stormwater management plan.
Oh, yeah, we can incorporate that into the thing. So that can be moved. Go ahead, Director Roth.
It just makes me wonder too, is the city of Port Alberni also doing the same type of thing? A campsite just further south? I don't know. I heard something about that.
That may be the case, but I'll rule that out of for now. Yeah.
I was just wondering what they're doing.
Oh, okay. In regards to how that's covered, go ahead.
We're just investigating the possibility of the campground. No firm plans have been made yet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have a seconder for the amending motion? Thank you, Director Sika. Any further comments? All those in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. I think only EA directors can amend a planning motion, but there was a majority of those who did, so it's okay. But I enjoy your enthusiasm, municipal directors. Okay, thank you for your question.
I have one additional question, if that's okay.
Is it about the agenda?
Yes, it is.
Same item?
Same item.
Please go ahead.
I put in a rezoning application that is just prior to this rezoning application. It's 07-2207, and this is 2208. They've had the opportunity to do an extensive amount of work towards forwarding their rezoning application. And I come to you at this time, Mr. Chair, to ask when it's possible for me to start my rezoning application and have some communication back from the planning department.
Okay, I think the planning department can follow up with you outside of the meeting. I'm going to rule that out of order because that's not actually the agenda item. But there can be responsiveness from the department on that, and they can do so. If you require further movement, becoming a delegation to talk about it would likely be the best way to do it in the future, because then it's at the beginning of the meeting and you have to wait around. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Board.
So with that in mind, I think that brings us to the end of the agenda. It does. So before, oh, there goes my computer. Okay. So because we have the regional hospital district meeting to do, as well as the in-camera regional hospital district meeting to do, as well as the regional district board in-camera meeting to do, there's a way in which we can do it. So I'm just going to read out the plan. So step 1 was conduct the open board meeting, which is what we're doing. Step 2 is what we're about to do, recess the board meeting to conduct the hospital meeting. That's the open meeting. At the end of the open hospital meeting, then someone will read the reasons to go in camera for the hospital meeting, and then adjourn the open hospital meeting. At step 4, we would reconvene the open board meeting and then read the reasons to go in camera for the board meeting, in-camera meeting. And then we would stop the stream because the in-camera stuff isn't subject to being broadcast. In the event that I forget any of those steps, please remind me and be like Tony Bennett when you do that. And we'll make sure that we just read out the reasons to go in camera for both the hospital meeting and the board meeting after. But first we have to recess the meeting to go into the hospital district. So that's what we'll do. Could we have a motion to recess the meeting, please? Thank you, Director Roth, seconded by Director Sparrow. Comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed, motion carried. Thank you, Director Haggard.
And if I miss a step, please let me know. Thank you. I'd like to call the Alberni-Clicquot Regional Hospital District meeting to order, recognizing that we're conducting this meeting on the unceded traditional territories of the Shuswap and Pachasa First Nations, and we're grateful for their opportunity to do so. We also have directors calling in from other territories, and I would like to also acknowledge those nations and express our gratitude and our respect. Notice to attendees and delegates as this meeting is being recorded and live streamed to YouTube on the Regional District website. Now it says to do introductions. Do I have to do introductions again? Perfect. Thank you. We have an agenda in front of us. Is there any additions from directors? Seeing none, is there any additions from the corporate officer?
Nothing from me, thank you.
Thank you. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Moved by Director Ross, second by Director Sparrow. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. Is there any declarations or conflicts of interest? Seeing none, I'll go on to presentations. Are they online? Okay. We have Lenore Lee, partner in Cameron Rice Girls Senior Manager from KPMG, presenting the 2025 audit findings for the Alberni-Clicquot Regional Hospital District. Nice to see you here today.
You too.
Thank you for coming, and please go ahead and start your presentation.
Great, thank you. I'll just share my screen here. I'm just going to speak briefly to agenda item 10, which is included in your package, and the audit findings report attached to the financial statements for the hospital district. Similar to the regional district, which we spoke about 2 weeks ago, the same status exists for the hospital district. We are substantially complete our audit, and there's no pending items other than discussion with the board today and acceptance of the financial statements. The audit report as attached to the financial statements is a clean and unqualified statement, and it indicates there's no material errors in the financial statements. They follow all of the rules required for public sector entities such as the hospital district, and all of the accounting policies are both consistent with previous years as well as those of other hospital districts and public sector organizations. So nothing unexpected in terms of status. Similarly, in terms of audit results, nothing unusual or unexpected to highlight to the board. Our findings report identifies the areas of focus in our audit. The first relates to the risk of management override of controls, where we focus on items such as reviewing journal entries posted in and around year end, as well as areas of significant judgment, bias, and estimate. The financial statements of the hospital district are quite straightforward and generally do not have any significant estimates or judgments required within them. In reviewing and performing these procedures, we had no issues to note to the board. In terms of the areas of accounting procedures, a lot of the balances in the financial statements are directly confirmed with third parties. So areas such as cash, investments, and debt are confirmed directly with the bank, MFA, and other third parties. We had no differences noted in the work that we performed. And then in terms of revenues and expenses, for requisition revenue, we're able to agree directly to payments received, which matched the approved budget during the year. And on the expense side of things, grants to Island Health are tested by comparing the actual expenses to the cash payments as well as approved by law. In those procedures, we had no differences or audit adjustments proposed. This page here just indicates there's no changes to the accounting policies or practices during the year, and they are in compliance with public sector accounting standards. And then we also confirm each year whether we have noted any control deficiencies or control observations as part of the audit process, and we have no material or significant control deficiencies to bring to the board's attention. The last portion of our report confirms our independence as financial statement auditors for the fiscal year, and the appendices are similar to those that were presented in the regional district audit findings report, speaking to future developments as well as a copy of our representation letter. Overall, there was no corrected or uncorrected audit adjustments noted as part of this audit process. So a very clean audit, no real issues to bring to the board's attention. And we'd like to thank management and staff for all of their help in this audit process. Happy to address any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions on the audit? Well, that looks pretty easy. No questions. Other than now, I think it's just maybe been a long day and we're all tired. But thank you very much. We appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you.
No delegations, and we have adoption of minutes from our Board of Directors meeting held on March 25th, 2026. Is there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, get a motion that the minutes of the Alberni-Quicklot Regional Hospital District Board of Directors meeting held on March 25th, 2026 be adopted. Moved by Director Jack, seconded by Director Roth. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. No public is here. Is there any public input online?
There are no attendees, so no.
Thank you. No correspondence for information or action. And next we have a request for decision for the Alberni-Quicklot Regional Hospital District financial statements for 2025. Is there any questions? Director Steer.
I'd just like to read the recommendation, if that's acceptable, that the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional Hospital District Board of Directors approve the 2025 audited financial statements for the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional Hospital District as presented.
Moved by Director Steer, seconded by Director Roth. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Motion is carried. No late business and question period. There's no one in the gallery. Director Cloutier.
You skipped over reports. Number 11, I just have a quick report from West Coast Native Healthcare. Just that they completed their accreditation and that they have an application in to the city for a new development and housing. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Cote. So is there any questions online, Heather? Thank you. No questions online. So next is, I'd like to make a motion to close the meeting. Director Roth? Sorry, Director Steer, please go ahead.
Yes, sorry, thank you. Through the chair, I just, through other business, you didn't see my hand raised. I just, regarding and I should have said it back up in the minutes and I apologize. It's regarding the letter that, in regards to Minister Ma and the meeting request with the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional Hospital Board. I'm wondering if there has been any response from the minister from our letter that that we have sent for that arranged meeting to discuss the Tofino General Hospital.
Cynthia?
No, we haven't received a response to schedule a date yet.
Thank you.
Just for your information, Director Steer, I attended a regional hospital district meeting last week with Island Health, and I've asked for a one-on-one meeting with them to further discuss Tofino Hospital, and they are aware that there's many decisions between the two of them that always don't work together. So, and they apologize profusely to me at the end of the meeting. So. Okay, any other reports or other questions? Okay, great. So we'll go on to the end camera. I'd like to make a motion to close the meeting to the public as per the community charter sections 91K. Negotiations and related discussions respecting the proposed provision of a municipal service that are at the preliminary stages and that the view of the council could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality if they were held in public. Can I get a seconder, please? Seconded by Director Roth. All in favor of going in camera? Any opposed? Motion is carried.